welcome to Session 0.
I'm not ready.
Tea&D. We're not drinking tea, but let me tell you, we got plenty of D.
Spermicide. We got lots of spermicide.
Welcome to Session 0 of our lovely campaign with our lovely cast. This is, of course, the VOD that we're making for the server and for the many that have been lost along the way, unfortunately. Shout out to Savant whenever you get the chance to join us. Couple of minor announcements. This is it. This is Session 0. We're going to be making our characters. We're going to be... What are we doing there? I have like a whole agenda. We're going to be making characters, talking about our characters, introducing our characters, getting to know the world, adding to the world, you know, getting some locations kind of down the map. I have some rough areas already in place, but I really want you guys to feel like this is your home and this is where you guys are going to be like kind of exploring. So you guys are going to have the chance to, of course, add those locations, add those characters. I know roughly we've kind of talked about some of the NPCs, very vaguely, very briefly, but maybe we can add a few more tonight. We can even add things to things like the Pantheon or things like, you know, sky's the limit. Sky's basically the limit is what I'm trying to say. General table etiquette. I mean, you guys know the usual. We've been doing this for fucking how many years at this point? You know, be respectful, be polite. Luckily, we're all privileged enough to be here in person. Ash, welcome, thank you. But that might not always be the case, so it's very important for us to listen at all angles, at all points, at all times. Typically, I'll actually have a ear pod in. Thank you, Kai, for that. Good idea. So that way I can hear better to our lovely online cast. So yeah, with that being said, the other thing I kind of want to touch up on is even if you're missing out on tonight, if you're watching this now, you're really not missing out on too much because you'll have more than enough of an opportune time to add on whatever you really want to before we start the campaign. Before we get too far into it, I don't want to sound too much like a fucking, you know, grade school teacher, like, hi everyone, look to the person on your left and the one on your right, fucking say cool, say something nice about yourself, you know, like all that shit. But I mean, you know, if you want to do an introduction as a player, not necessarily as a character yet, you know, go for it. I'm cool with that. I'm of course the DM. I've been DMing forever. I mean, yeah, I don't think anyone has ever seen me be a player, except for, well, no, except for Sean. Sean's the only one who's seen me as a player. Yeah. But aside from that, I've been the perma DM.
No, I have.
We
did a one shot.
We did do a one shot.
Hey,
Halloween one shot.
Yo.
That's correct. So yeah, I've been the perma DM, and I'm excited to retire after this campaign. So let's see the VOD of the last session where I go, we'll do another one.
He's like, you know what? I have so many ideas.
You know what? Fuck this. I'm not retiring. So if anyone else wants to do like an introduction, cool.
20 years of D&D.
I'm not gonna twist an arm. Who wants to?
So you're not even in camera, dude.
I'm not even in camera.
Lean
This
forward.
is me. I am Sean.
Lean forward. Lean forward. Show your pretty face. There you go.
That's all we get of Sean.
He's fucking encrypted.
What was that, like 1 second? That's all we can
Sean,
get
I'm
per
gonna crop
episode.
that and make that into an emote.
Yeah. That will be the only the only 2 seconds that you will ever be on the VODs.
Yeah, just quick little like hand gestures, and then like every so often just like a.
There's gonna be one where you like fucking lurch too far forward and you just hear.
Or you just completely shift the desk and the monitor falls.
Slip over the table.
And then it's just gonna be like doo 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 doo. We'll be right back.
Baby oil.
Alright, introduction.
Introduction. Alright, hey, my name's Sean. Many of you know me. Many of you are gonna get to know me. Pleasure to meet you. Even more pleasure to meet me.
Sean has one type, and it's more than apparent in his fucking characters.
Beef.
Beef. Alright.
Yeah. I'm gonna be playing Grimstone. Gonna be having fun with that, introducing everyone to this character. Can't wait.
Alright. And that's Sean, also known as Grimstone. Who's next, if anyone wants to?
I'm Vince.
Hi, Vince.
Hi, Vince.
Hey, Vince.
I'm playing Vince.
I'm gonna be Vince in this campaign.
Dude, I
For
said
real?
no Vince.
You said no Vince.
I said no Voldekin, I said no Artificers, and I said no Vince. There were 3 rules.
Sean, your
I wasn't here.
gizzard is okay. He didn't say no to it.
Bro, we can bring Levi
I
back
even
in
let the
next.
gizzard in here.
Alright, Sean.
Alright, well,
Sean,
I'm Vince. I'm playing.
Find Levi. You're bringing him in instead.
Bro, I got him in the car. Are you kidding me?
I'm playing Lochte Golden Mane, and I'm excited for you guys to meet that character and to meet me because I'm awesome.
And cute.
Get over here. Cut the camera.
Omar.
Me? Oh.
Oh, I guess you're.
Hi.
I mean, if we're
my name's
bouncing.
Omar. I'm
What
a
is this
big
game?
guy. I fucking love kobolds. Unfortunately, I'm not playing one. I got scrapped. I'm playing a guy named Dieter Uhrmacher. He's a cool German. I love Germany.
Oh my god, I had to make Germany in this. Omar, you do know what happens in Germany.
Yeah, dude.
Deutschland number
They make
one.
cars.
Deutschland is the best.
They do make
bro.
cars.
They make cars. That's
My-
it. That's the
my
only thing in
favorite
history they're
German
known for.
company.
Omar, I hope you know that, like, when I was making, like, the countryside where you're from, my brain didn't go, oh yeah, like hills and knolls of Germany. It went,
didn't?
no, I went, what's the most, like, popular German attraction known to man? I'm like, oh, it's a small world, got it, so I just kind of designed it after that.
Oh, I
I
guess
live
that's
in
what
a
you
small
look
world. That's it.
Yeah,
It's
That's
a
all
small
my character is. It's a small world.
After all.
I hope you'll get to see some cool stuff. That's it.
Kai or Ash, do you guys want to
I
do
guess
that?
I'll go next. My name's Kai. My character does not have a name yet because I'm really bad at making names. Hope I figure that out soon. But session 0, that's when we're making your shit. Fully.
It's session 0 now.
Yeah, it's session 0, so
Yeah.
come up with a name.
No.
Right now.
No, at the end. I'm playing a dragonborn who messes with runes.
Runes.
Scottish reads.
Got me prunes.
The runes.
I'm feeling blocked up like
I haven't seen runes like those in years.
That's all I'm gonna put so far, I guess.
Okay, that's good. And last but not least, Ashley.
Alrighty. You're resident from Utah, sadly. I'm Ash. I am really excited for us to do this campaign after finding things out on the way.
Yes.
Everyone
was like, I don't know if I'm really up for this campaign, and then the twist happened, and everyone's like, oh god, yes! Oh fuck, yes!
I mean, you did pull an MCU, so I
a
am.
little bit.
A little bit. Nah.
I am very interested to
good
see
shit,
how
though.
everyone's gonna play out this campaign. I'm excited for everyone to meet Vane.
Oh yeah, and Vane is character, class, and name. So Vane and their class. I mean, also, if you don't want to share your class, you don't have to. I've had some people say they didn't want to.
I didn't say my class.
Oh yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
I don't think anyone did.
I-
We forgot about all
I
that.
Restart.
totally.
Restart,
Wait,
restart,
I thought you said
restart.
you were. Okay.
Reset
No.
the video.
Turn it off!
Never mind. I'm lying. I'm a
We'll be
liar and a
right back.
scoundrel. I guess that's what our next segment's gonna be all about.
Oh,
Your class.
What? How much do you make?
I'm
it
upper
per
middle.
Middle class white male.
So player introductions out of the way. I'm not gonna make us go in any specific order per se. I'm actually gonna organize because I think organization is kind of important, especially since I'm DMing, and also all these pencils are dull. I'm a bastard.
Yeah.
Well, my hubris. That was fun.
They're all, like, this was the only like usable one I
Give
saw.
me a knife.
Yeah, that I'm sharper before.
I'll use my teeth. My hubris is best of me. With that being said, let's get into, character introductions. Before we do, let me just kind of say a few things. Kind of like figure out like what you want to keep a secret as a character and what you want to keep secret as a player. If you genuinely want a reveal to happen that everyone's going to be surprised by as players, probably keep that on the down low. If you want something that's only going to be a surprise as a character to learn, or you think that's going to be interesting for banter, or you think that's going to be interesting for developing of your character, feel free to share it. Share as little or as much as you want about your character in session 0, but also like at some point hit my line about what's going on, because I wouldn't want it to be like, oh okay, yeah, sounds good, and then all of a sudden like fucking 3 sessions later, like all this stuff just boom boom boom. I'm like, what? I thought you were an orc. Who are you?
I don't even know who you are
I'm
anymore.
actually a shoe.
Yeah.
A shoe.
You transmogrified, dude.
Transform.
I'm a walking shoe.
The shoe has
I'm
legs
a
and
what
arms.
is it? I'm a
One with a mannequin.
I'm a
Isn't that the thing with the
I'm a
robots
baguette being
and,
held
like,
up by Mage-Hand.
turn into cars? Was that in one of our campaigns that there was or someone wanted to be like a piece of bread that was just held by
Ethan
mages?
wanted to be a baguette that was held up by Mage-Hand. My favorite is hands down the wizard that was a chair at one point, and then he walked into an anti-magic field, and he turned back into a chair and just died.
And everyone's like, dude, it turns you to chairs. Don't go in there.
That's
It's bad.
that's really good.
They just
I love that.
campaign derailed after that. I'd love to see it.
Everywhere you go, you're afraid of being turned into a chair.
Dude, it's just anti-magic, bro. You don't understand.
It's chair magic.
Dude,
I'm doing this.
I
Anti-chair
derailed
magic.
an entire campaign with just one character.
Yes.
The Jizzard.
The Jizzard.
Have you never heard of this someone?
So Levi was this character I made who was a lizard folk wizard who had a special ability. The special ability, as agreed upon by the DM, was that on a nat 20 roll, he would turn people. He would instantly turn an enemy into jeans, and he literally wore a cloak made of jeans, a hat made of jeans, and everything. And he was called the Jizzard, the Gene Wizard Lizard. And when we had our first session, I literally turned the main boss into a pair of flame embroidered jeans, which completely derailed the campaign, and now he's illegal in campaigns.
I didn't DM it, but I'd be so down just out of common curiosity, especially with like a level 20 campaign, because like, don't get me wrong, it's still kind of ridiculous, but that's when you get into the territory of like legendary resistance. So that's like when the Jizzard's like, yes, nat 20, and then the enemy just goes, no, and you're just like, ooh, and then you turn in the jeans.
This counters.
And then the campaign becomes we have to turn the Jizzard back into a lizard.
Okay.
I had this whole concept where using him in another campaign, but as like a hero that's in the world, that turned like a Tarask into a pair of jeans, and they have a statue in the center of town. It's just him with his cloak, and there's like no pants on it, and the party could find his actual jeans that he made from the Tarask. And if they put it on, cool. They get a bunch of buffs that are really cool. If they put it on the statue, Levi would come back to life, but completely made of jeans and nothing else.
What's his
Idea. Someone finds the jeans and reverses the spell and just dooms everyone.
Was the character's like a philosophy like, a good hero is not made in soul and steel, but it's in their genes?
But
Okay.
Yeah, that was real fun.
This guy's funny.
That was
Yeah,
great.
that was real fun.
I enjoyed
That
it.
cracked me up.
Perky, he's a jolly good fellow. With past characters out of the way, let's talk about present and future characters, and by that I mean hopefully these guys last past their first session.
You know about that.
I will say,
the guy has a heart attack and dies.
damn,
We
constantly.
haven't even started yet. He's just dead.
Based on sheer magnitude, I will give the forewarning that when your character dies, or if you're feeling the want to like retire them, it might be sometime before you hop back in, just so that way everyone gets like a chance to taste this interesting pie that we've found ourselves in. But yeah, with that said, I think I kind of mentioned that beforehand. Who wants to talk about themselves first? Who's gonna be the one?
I'll do it.
You narcissist.
It's me.
Omar's
I'm
going last now.
narcissist.
It was a
I'm
test.
big.
It was a
I
test.
know.
You failed. Get out.
So
Hit it.
I studied German for 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I've always wanted to make a German character. I know so much German, and I don't use it at all. Like zero. I used it once at work, because some German dude was like, "Was machen Sie?" I was like, oh, German? I got you, old timer. I'm pretty sure he was racist. That's besides the point.
I would have had to create a new character sheet. That was almost so bad.
Yeah.
He was pretty scared that some little brown kid was like, what?
He knows.
You were the last person he ever expected.
Omar, now
You're
I
like,
have to learn
hello.
German.
He's like,
Thanks a lot.
So he's somewhere in his 40s. He's a dad of 2. He got a beautiful wife. He makes cloths.
I'm sorry. No, I'm actually laughing because in my brain I was like, why is he describing this man that was at the 1906? I was like, why does he know so much about him?
We had a long conversation, dude. He told me everything.
And then he turned into flame embroidered jeans.
That guy was actually the Jizzard.
Yeah.
In real life.
Real life Jizzard.
He's super cool. I don't know. I've never played a wizard in anything. I've always wanted to.
I'm so
They're
sorry.
always so cool. I see everyone do all this cool magic shit. I'm like, I want
You want to play Jizzard?
no. I want to play Deer.
I do at one point. There's some sort of different variation though.
You're familiar? We can talk about him a little bit. You're familiar?
Oh yes. So Deer has a pet turtle. It's a tortoise, and his name is Kruz, which is short for Schildkröte, which is German for turtle.
Nice.
And he
It
follows
comes
me
goes all
around,
back together.
tiny little bastard, and he nibbles shit.
How did you find Croat is my follow-up. Did you just like go?
Croat? So
Do I have to make a pet store?
no.
Okay, cool.
So,
I mean, I will.
that's I was gonna bring it up because we're in the middle of the mountains, like Bavarian mountains style. I think I just found him. Like, he was in a cart. He just like stood away from some other place. I was like, hey, he's not a watch. He's not a clock.
He's shaking. He's
Come
so
here, you
cold.
He's right twice a day.
And
Is he like? I've always kind of pictured him like a bit larger, not like giant, but like pretty large.
He's like this big, probably. I would say. Maybe a little bigger.
The bigger you make him, the higher your strength mod is, because you're just like,
He's this big.
Maxed out
Yeah.
strength.
It's actually.
Sean big. It's actually just Sean.
You can.
It's just me in a turtle costume.
You're on all fours. Just Omar's on your back. You're just like.
if you want, we can talk about where he's from as well.
Germany.
Also from Germany.
So we implemented Germany into the campaign.
Does he speak German?
So in the map, if I'm not mistaken, I mean you do have an accent to it. I'm gonna try and replicate that because the area that Dieter is from is known as Crexnia. Crexnia, as most of us are well aware, was something made initially kind of. Back when we first started the campaign, we never expected Crexnia to be more than simply the place that Helsing comes from. So with the accent, it would make sense. Like, oh, okay, most people from Crexnia have this sort of European, Russian, German-esque kind of sounding accent. Most people kind of have this like complexion or this like kind of various race and whatnot. But we began developing it, and so as we began developing Crexnia, we began kind of making its own landscape more so like sort of like at the time almost like a Victorian era. Like forest mountain region to the like kind of I guess western area, like it's like a western continent. Obviously that's changed now with the kind of reboot of things, but some of the locations are still the same. I wasn't sure if I kind of brought this up. I think we talked a little bit about it, and I know definitely we talked about it, but is everyone else Crexnian native for the most part? Like either
I want my guy who's somehow part of Bulgaria.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, that's
if you
personally.
I would say genuinely, since you are a Dragonborn, during this time period, like when you were born, because you did also bring up you wanted to be in the war at some point.
Yes.
You probably would have hatched in Krogan, but then before the war began happening, there was a lot of immigration. You probably immigrated to Moldaria, and that's where most of your life was coming up, and that ties more into like that kind of background of, hey, the war's happening, now we're kind of flung into it, because they literally Moldaria was flung into the war against Krogan. So that's one approach we could take for it. Alternatively, if we want to have it more like you were hatched in Moldaria and we kind of like discovered the reason why your egg was there, you know, that sort of thing, that can also be something we delve into as well.
Sounds good.
Cool. But yeah, everyone else is Crexian native for the most part. So the area that that Dieter is kind of resident to, I think we talked about this, is sort of like the northern mountain region, not really in the mountains themselves, because the mountains are known as Urgus. That is one of the places that was in Crexnia before, but we never really explored too much, which I'm excited about now, which is the central mountain divide that splits what once was the residency of Castle Silvertongue and Silvertongue Manor and such, and like kind of that coast region and the mainlands in the middle. So now we actually have where Dieter's from with Oberhaven, the kind of knolls and the hillside area with like sort of like trees encompassing it and whatnot. And I think I kind of jokingly threw to you the idea that it was like basically IKEA. Like these guys are all like carpenters, woodworkers. The community is very heavily like craft centric. So we have like the most men kind of typically spend most of their days being lumberjacks, and they come home and like their family has like used the wood in some way. There's like a lumber mill that's connected to like the stream and whatnot. Very wood oriented, so that's always like really cool. Did you want to add anything else to the village? Because I threw in like a couple craftsmen's. Like there's a basket weaver. There's what was another one? Someone has innovated new wooden shoes. You know, we got clogs maker. Yeah.
Yes, that's fucking sick. I don't know, man. There's a lot of things. There should be a marketplace. I don't know if you have one.
Yeah.
There should be a marketplace. There should be a church. For sure. But I don't know what religion's up there. That's the thing.
We have plenty. So I'm going to make a quick touch back very briefly about the market. We can either have you have like sort of like a farmer's market gathering sort of epicenter, or as I was talking about with Urgus is kind of like the trade center, because what happens is people convene in this mountain heart because it's literally like someone took a drill and went right through Urgus. So it's this epicenter of trade because it's not only connected to the mainlands, but as I said before, it's also connected to the coast. So there's imports and exports kind of going through this funnel. So if we want to go large scale, we can say that Oberhaven brings supplies to Urgus and then kind of goes like exchanges through there, or we can say they've been more communal based and they have their own sort of trade markets and whatnot. I'm fine with either.
Probably a little bit of both. I think the main like drill bit through Urgus is fine. Like maybe that's where they got all the money and shit. Yeah. Just like local little community.
Oberhaven's very self-sufficient, sounds like, when it comes to resources and stuff like that. What do you think they'd probably be getting from external? Because, I mean, they build their own houses, they make their own supplies, they have their own furniture, maybe like food?
It's more food-centric, so like exotic fruits and stuff. Types of food
Fruits that can't grow there.
Things that can't grow there, yeah.
Pineapple.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
Pineapple.
So with that being said, we now go to religion. We have a lot of deities. Crexia is actually kind of bustling with demigods at the moment, which I'm very happy with. And this kind of extends to everyone. I'm going to try and spread out the gods accordingly because it's obviously not monotheistic. I mean, we have a full-on pantheon here. Certain gods are going to be kind of worshipped around the world. There are going to be certain deities that spread out, and I definitely...
No, I have something else to
absolutely. I first person I thought of, genuinely.
Yeah.
So there are going to be multiple different, almost like duplicates of like churches that we'll come across, or not even just churches, just like general places of worship. Like the eldest beings that we can trust on, which I can touch on again, are Nevinral, who represents madness, chaos, fear, and rebirth. And right off the bat, I'm going to touch on Nevinral really quick. People might worship him for different reasons. People in the like slums and more poorer areas might believe that chaos can lead to rebirth. Maybe it's good to have a bit of anarchy that can now lead to change, either political or physical change. Or maybe there are those who are much more nature dryads who are naturalists who are like, hey, the crops aren't growing, the forest is dying, maybe we just gotta torch it and let things grow. You know, so there are different interpretations of each being in this world on the higher scale because it's much more difficult to actually come in contact with them. Did you want to add something to that?
Two things. So first thing was with Nevinral. I know you mentioned sometimes people who are like lost sometimes will like either try and like pray to him or even sometimes make deals with him. Other thing I was going to say is there is like a technically like an eldest god, right? That was like
that's death. Yeah,
death.
The eldest.
What I was gonna say is I'd imagine there'd probably be at least like one place, pretty much across the land, that, like you would worship specifically.
Life, death, rebirth.
Exactly.
Those are the big three.
That's what I was gonna say.
And it used to mainly be life and death. And the craziest thing about it is life and death never were really like our houses are at war or our orders are at war. They've both accepted themselves as the equals of this world. They've both gone, in order to have a fulfilling life, it's got to end somewhere. And in order to have a meaningful death, you've got to pave the way. You know, so they both accept each other. When Nevinral came in, that's when chaos really came into effect. And Nevinral really does influence that sort of thing. And I'm going to follow back with kind of minor scale with Damatar. Damatar's not fond... I'm not going to say of Nevinral. He's not fond of the idea of Nevinral. He's completely fine with because genuinely speaking, Nevinral tends to himself. Nevinral is a being in this universe isn't the faceless, tentacled, gross-looking ancient one that we've seen before. He's actually almost like an angel. He is a faceless angel, horns protruding off of his head. Half of his face is gone, basically. He only has like a nose and a mouth, and then others just spiral into like various horns off of his head. He has like claws and such. He's kind of like this really dark interpretation of beauty. And as we saw him towards the end of the last campaign where he was all bandaged and whatnot, now his skin looks much more fresh. It looks much more organic. He looks healed. He has gone through change. And technically it's a they them. So they have gone through some change, but they still have influenced such a area of madness, chaos, fear, etc. Another thing I want to kind of dress up on is since they are an eldest being, they don't typically make deals. But Nevinral does have children in this. Quite a few, as a matter of fact, and we're going to touch upon those. A lot of them are asexual, but there are a few gods that have, had sex and made smaller gods. That's just what kind of comes of things. And then we'll kind of touch upon Zixelbrecht and how they make gods in kind of a more interesting manner. Because Nevinyrral's, through claims of religion, Nevinyrral is said to make gods purely out of just sheer chaos. When there's something missing in the world, Nevinyrral makes it. And it might work for the good, it might work for bad. Most of the time it's bad. That's all I'm going to really say about them for now, because we have a lot more of these gods to touch into. I think a Nevinyrral church would be cool. Or just like not even a church, just like a building. Maybe like, I've been thinking about this for a while. I'm thinking that Nevinyrral and Crexenia is just anarchy. There are just straight up anarchists devoted to Nevinyrral, and they're just fucking shit up right now, genuinely. So there's not going to be a church here. There might be one elsewhere. I was thinking maybe for Oberhaven, if you want to have like one of the big three, I mean, poetic as it may be, I don't know about Zixelbrecht. Zixelbrecht would be cool because one of the things of disciples of Zixelbrecht are they actually wear masks, as similar to the god. So the god themselves is faceless. They have like basically like a polyhedron head. Or not faceless, but emotionless, which is ironic because they are the god of emotions. They are completely null of any emotions. Where their emotion comes from is they have like 6 or 8 limbs, and each one has essentially what is like a theater mask, which they put on, and it's said that if you're in the sheer radius or presence of this god, whatever mask they're feeling, you mimic. You immediately feel that way. And it helps tie into more about runic culture, it ties into things about why there are many houses of Zixelbrecht. Like there are some followers that channel more rage, channel more sorrow, channel more joy, stuff like that. But I will admit, in lore, joy has been a bit scarce as of lately. And Zixelbrecht seems to be not necessarily having a great time for some reason. But yeah, that's it for those two. What you need, God?
I just want to say, I feel with Damatar, I think that the main reason he's not fond of Nevinyrral is, a main staple of his is that, people on the bottom, or things on the bottom even, can just be built back up, whereas Nevinyrral's idea is to destroy them and rebuild them, rebirth. And so I think that goes against like Damatar's like main idea of like, we can just build this back up and bring it like to a better light, whereas he's like, let's just tear it down and remake it, basically.
Plus they're anarchists, they have no need for money.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's for Nevinyrral and a bit of Zixelbrecht. Xanthu, one of the eldest beings, we're all quite familiar with. He's a god now. He represents fire, the sun, and he's typically only in Valmir. He doesn't really spread out past it. He just kind of chills there because it's hot, and he enjoys that because it's magma. Well, not all magma, but he enjoys the magnus regions and such. He's not red anymore, actually. He's orange. He's a gilded orange with like white accents to him now. He's got like this sort of like ascendant light to him. He's still the dick, but it is what it is. Comes with the whole dragon god complex. I don't know if Xanthu. It's possible Xanthu could be like the monument near like village or something. Again, the sun's really important. There's going to be some monument at some point. Maybe not like an entire church related, but there might be like a statue to him or something, because it's the sun.
Especially with plants. Trees.
Kai, one of the ones that you interacted with a lot, actually, you made a return. Barthau. Barthau's back. He's actually known as the Elder Cosmic Giant of Dreams, Watcher of the Cosmic Seas. He is still kind of kicking in Prakara, but that's more of like the physical element of him. Like, again, like he kind of tends there because it's home, it's where his family is, it's where he enjoys being, but he's still an unbiased god. He's not like, nightmares, I don't like you, nightmare. No, he's still chilling. He'll probably, if you talk to him about, hey, can you move the North Star for me, he'll probably go like, he's still the same Barthau. There has been a bit of hard times on the guy, but I still kind of channel that more like soft side to him being a Titan and things like that. I don't think Barthau, that's the thing about it. I think it'd be interesting if Barthau did have like a smaller kind of place in Oberhaven, mainly just because it's like dreams and innovation. They go hand in hand. Maybe they look up to this giant bearded cobbler man, who sculpts like the skies to make constellations, Yeah, so that could be an idea. Here, I'll put that down really quick. So maybe Barthau, just kind of fits the aesthetic. This is a brand new god that we're coming up with because he mirrors one of the prior gods. This is Morrow. Morrow is the Arcocran god of days. He's kind of similar to if our campaign dwellers remember Enos, but he's much more energetic. He's much more lively. He's kind of built off of like almost like a mockingbird or like a roadrunner. He's like very spry. He's always on the move because he's got to get to the next day. You know, he really embodies like that warmness and that kind of cycle. Because on the other side of things, this is in terms of the world, this is a new god. And you know, Morrow could be the god also that, you know, maybe your village really likes. They like the idea of a new day coming, new potential, you know. But hand in hand with that is Chitinia. Chitinia is no longer this being of light. She's actually now a god. She is known as the Monarch of Night. She's the goddess of nights. But she's a new god. There was actually a god before her of nights. And in lore, the only way, and this is something that carries over from the past one, the only way you get a title of being a god is if you defeat one prior, and you just best them and you get their powers, or you kill them. So, kind of interesting how Chitinia is now a god of nights, and we've only seen her in this light of, this is a divine, peaceful moth being, and now she's the monarch of night, you know, so that's something neat. You could worship Chandala. She is the current incarnation of nature and tranquility. The nature god is the only god that doesn't follow that rule of you have to be killed or you have to be bested. There's a third clause. You just simply die. As the nature cycle... No, I'm serious. The nature cycle continues, and whoever nature just chooses to be next, they embody all of that power. In this case, it's who once was Lady Chandalar, who is now simply known as Chandala. She was Maldarian, but again, the nature god kind of jumps around, and there is a bit of hesitance when going into a time of war when it comes to, okay, who's the current nature god, because we really don't want to piss off Mother Nature. I've been toying with the idea that the stars might have aligned too perfectly for Krogan, and not only did they have Krogan the Cruel, not only did they have Ren, maybe the god of nature was on their side, and maybe their death is what triggered the severing of Krogan from well, not more anymore actually.
Right.
We renamed it, yeah. It's pretty neat. We renamed a lot of stuff. So Chandala, maybe even it's a prior version of Chandala. Maybe your village worshipped a prior incarnation of nature, which is still a thing. There are some characters that in this world are like, wow, this season sucks. No harvest. This season was horrible. We were in a heat storm, you know, like so. But then there's like the old timers who are like, I remember when the crops would grow and you could eat corn right off the stalk. You don't have to worry about maggots or worms or grub, you know, so that's always a possibility. Threlia and Uvrin, beforehand, they were separate gods of the moon. Now they are a two-headed elder dragon duo. They're twins of the moon itself, the dark side and the light side of the moon. And in addition to that, they are currently literally just sleeping on the moon. They just kind of chill there. That's just where they are. That's where they live. That's what they own, so they might as well. Their connection, and this was kind of hinted at, their connection actually ties pretty close to the Jackson lineage on account that Helson's bloodline comes from dragons. So the dragon that he's related to is actually the sister of Threlia and Uvrin. So that's kind of the neat little draconic family tree. We get to the one and only Grotendo. She's back in the limelight, if not fucking the forefront. She is the eldest god. She not only represents death now, she represents balance, destiny, and fate. It's the whole idea of, you're gonna die at some point, let me chart the course. Like, let me kind of get you on your way, and life just kind of happens with it. Although Zixelbrush will never admit it, because I think she's too afraid to admit it, Grotendo basically overrules any sort of plan for her, like, ideal life. Like, she could be picturing, like, oh, you get married, and you have a husband, and you have all this cool stuff, but at the end of the day, Grotendo just kind of decides, no, you're going where I say you're going, and you're gonna deal with it. Now, that's not necessarily to say that someone can't change that, but it's very difficult to do so. And of course, I finally touched up on Zixelbrush. But yeah, if you're interested in any of those ideas for a possible area for your religion, or for your church, or for your kind of like shrine or something,
Probably going to be Lady Chandler, just from old nature aspect. And then
the current incarnation, or did you want to do a past one?
that's what I'm thinking. I think it should be a past one from Craigslist.
I guess in your eyes it'd be a present one.
Is Ladies Channel from Crexton?
Well, no, Ladies Channel are from Aldaria, but keep in mind, there's a pretty substantial gap.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'm never.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you want to come up with something like that?
Yeah, I'll come with you.
Okay, cool. Let me know what you think of that. I'll show you some god
forgot
idea.
about that. Damn.
Yeah, right? Because I just realized that too. I'm like, wait a minute.
I think you should update.
What do you mean?
Like whenever one drops another one, there's just like an old portrait. You know, like in the White House was like, there's like all 44 bastards just hung up.
So there's like all
green
these statues
There's
of
always,
like
like,
the
little-
same
yeah.
god.
It's like, oh look.
That's who you
New one.
praise. The green bastard.
The Green Knight.
Did you just want a statue? Did you just want like a statue, or did you want like a whole on like church temple?
Probably like a church temple.
Okay.
Just sort of like the Avatar state. There's like hella little statues everywhere. Oh, I remember that, dude.
That's gonna be cool, like a wood
Fuck that.
statue and
Yeah,
stuff.
like wood
Yeah,
statue.
that's cool. I like that.
And
There's-
then probably a statue of who's the cobbler dude you're talking
oh,
about?
Barthou. He's not really a cobbler, but he's a crafter.
He's a
Yeah.
crafter. Probably like a
He's a crafty
maybe
fella.
he's like a fountain in the time in like the market.
Oh my god! And when it like shoots the water down on nights, you could just see like the stars reflecting in it. That would be so cool. I can't wait to destroy all that. I mean, oh, that's so cool. Did you want to add anything else, Omar, in terms of story stuff, in terms of character stuff, any NPCs? I mean, I already have a couple, just kind of to throw at you. I already kind of talked about the Clogs guy. I talked about the basket weaver.
Alright, I want there to be a little kid
Okay.
who's like, hold on.
Oh my god, a child.
No.
Dude, you
His
really...
piano. His name's gonna be Mozart.
Pianist?
He's a pianist. He's a small little pianist. Everyone's like, wow, look at little Mozart go.
Look at that little pianist.
Look at that little pianist. He's so good.
Oh my god. I'll come up with something. I'll come up with like a music...
Name him Igor.
Okay, actually that works.
Igor.
No, I got something for you. And I think you're gonna like this. And this was an idea I was toying around with. Yeah, let's go with it. It's a musician,
Ooh.
but at the time that you meet him, he's a child. He's a turtle.
Oh, epic.
He plays the trumpet. He's very jazz-centric. He's very up and coming, and his like whole dream that he has is he wants to travel. He wants to travel the world and play music.
Down.
Yeah. Okay.
Is his name Igor?
What do you want it to be?
Is it? Oh, you know what? I don't know. Fucking. What's a turtle name?
Dude, don't do this to me. I was just gonna name like 4 of the turtles I've already used.
Ludwig.
Probably Ludwig.
Ludwig.
What's the name of your town or village?
Overhaven.
Oberhaven.
Over is over in German. Or up. So up.
So your church will be the Green Chapel.
Oh, the Green Chapel.
I'm trying to think of names suck, bro.
Oh, trust me. I think I came up with it. His original name was Ludwig Brask, but people just call him Ludwig Brass. That's his like
Nice.
stage name.
I
Yeah.
like that.
That's
Israel.
Yeah.
His church will be the Green Chapel.
And the prison will be called the Green Mile.
That's awesome.
Oh my god.
That bitch.
Alright, was there anything else you wanted to add, Omar?
Statue.
Green Chapel. Green Chapel. Green Village.
Groon.
Groon.
G-R-U. G-R-U with the 2 dots? N.
Yeah,
okay.
N-E. Or Gruna or Grun?
Groon.
It's a Green Chapel.
And then there's a big like statue for the Mother Nature, and it'll be called the Green Giant.
That's a present Green Giant. It's just whoever's in charge right
The
now.
green bitch.
You guys have to change it every time.
Yeah, every
you just
time.
make it out of wood. You just carve it.
Fuck, this is how I scratch myself. Church trying
It
to, like,
changes
scratch
before
my
you can finish.
They have like a medieval tractor they call it the Green Machine. Oh my god.
And then the town reject is the Green Bastard.
Always green.
Don't. I will.
And there's a ranger
Don't.
named Green Arrow.
The Green Goblin.
There's a
Green Goblin. It's just a goblin.
You know the Mind Goblin?
Oh my god.
I think that's probably it. It's a
Okay.
pretty small town.
If anything pops up, let me
Keep the
know.
over ponies.
I just realized that there's also like an entire cast of other people that are just like as you steal all the shit. And who wants to jump in? I guess you're fine because you're in another fucking plane of existence.
Everyone looked at me too.
I just looked around.
I just looked in this general direction.
What about El Pollo Loco? What are you in the mood for?
El Pollo Loco?
Oh my god, I want you to play a chicken now. Okay, sorry. Go.
Beast
Like
shaped.
chicken with jeans.
Dude, no, Sean.
Carries a knife.
Sean, you could be shaped into a stone flaming chicken.
With jeans and a knife. Oh my god, we done it. We min-maxed the best character. That moment you level 20 as a druid just so you can cast Mage Hand as your chicken form to hold a knife while you're wearing jeans.
No, you have a giant club.
It's like a Dark Souls club.
It's just like a cartoon. Like they're like, look at this little chicken.
Instead of mage hand.
Alright, Grimstone. What you got for me?
Alright. Grimstone, alright. Grimstone
Hate it.
happens to hail from the
Suck
realm
nuts.
of fire.
So you're from Valnir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Valnir, the fire realm, lives in the Sapphire village. Sap and fire. You know, because it's fire. Grimstone.
Do you care if I put a Y in fire? F-Y-R-E? That
Sure.
sounds really cool,
Yeah.
actually. I like that. Like S-A-P-H-F-Y-R-E. That looks so good on paper.
Sapphire.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Sapphire.
Grimstone
Actually, yeah.
is quite a big fellow.
How big?
He is a 7'5".
You really have one type. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Big.
He's a 7'5", Goliath fire genasi,
Holy shit.
who has a constant emission of bluish yellow flames that come from his body that form into hair and facial hair on his head, and on his body he actually has cracks throughout his entire body that represent the Goliath tribal tattoos that fire also emits from.
So, your village location, north, east, southwest, where do you want to be?
I was about to say the south, the deep south, but no.
He has a
So I
heavily
will say,
southern accent.
based on the rough map that I've been kind of outlining, to the northeastern region, that's kind of where we get more to the mountainous territory, and then we just get into a pit of lava, basically like the ocean, because that's where Xanthu be sleeping. That's his
Yeah.
little fucking bed. Aside from that, like in the mid area, and this is something I'm excited to talk about because we're talking about other planes, there's basically a Bifrost in this. We touched up on the Ashen Darkwoods for a while. That was a really pivotal point. And the Ashen Darkwoods was a cursed land that the idea was you're not getting out, right? It was cursed by the Hijale, turned you into werewolves and shit, you're fucked. I like the idea of, well, what if it wasn't a cursed, horrible place? What if it was, especially how nature-centric everything is in this world, what if it was more open and accepting? So, with Shandala and with the various, like, natural regions of the land, there's many different ways to get around. You don't always have to fly, take a ship, whatnot. And so the best way I can say that's going to tie you to the story is I think it'd be interesting if you come from the Ashen Darkwoods. Like, genuinely, maybe that's why it gets its name. Maybe the actual, like, sheer heat and essence of Valnir is starting to burn away out the forest. It just makes, like, clouds of ash to it. Like, that's a genuine idea. We could do something cool as, like, some of the trees are, like, burnt away and, like, kind of molten-esque in nature. And it always depicts this sort of, like, essentially the stereotype that I've been really against, which is like the Mount Doom, like God, I'm such a fake Star Wars fan. I'm such a fake Star Wars fan. Fucking Lava Planet from episode 3. Mustafar, thank you. Like I'm Mustafar, but then when you go into it, it's like this beautiful, fucking vibrant, like Aurora Boreal. It's like blues, purples, greens.
It is part of it.
Okay.
A lot of the
What
other
was
fire genasi and other
Yeah, see?
creatures that live there, they aren't just on the same like casual palette of flame that you usually see, like the yellow, red, and orange. They also go into different colors, such as blue, yellows, greens, stuff you normally wouldn't see in those fires. Those being very representative of emotion and the way that people in this realm live.
Would you? I think it'd be interesting if maybe your tribe, based on how they act, how they portrayed, are more of those aggressive colors, while the rest of civilization, because there's like a whole ass city.
Yeah.
There's like, because like it's not all like, yes, we all live in tribes and we all hunt and we all survive. No, like there's a fucking New York down the way. Like it's got walls
On fire,
and
but New York.
buildings and shit, and it's really cool.
So you're
New York, but on fire.
That's what you just said.
Um,
Nice.
So my follow up to this is, I'm gonna start throwing some races at you, and we'll kind of. I'll throw some races at you, and we'll kind of figure out what's kind of predominant. So right off the bat, I obviously think of like Omar. No, I was gonna say Omar's fan favorite. I was gonna think Cobalt. You know, got some Cobalts in there.
I'd say definitely Cobalts.
Yeah.
Dragonborns would definitely be living there.
Specifically fire.
Fire. Yeah. There would be a lot of Genasi and Goliaths.
Yep.
Humans.
They're just melting.
There's like one human.
Because of Runic,
That's Steve.
humans could technically live there.
For sure.
Not like permanently, but I mean, it's more likely that there could be a few humans in there, like with runes.
One.
For
There's
sure.
one dwarf.
Some guy runs into out the room and scratches out
Okay,
his
here's
room.
my follow-up to that. Duragar are deep, like, underdark dwarves.
Yeah.
Have we ever seen, like, dwarves that come from, like, a plane of water, a plane of frost? You know, well, maybe not frost because it's easier to harden them up.
There are some in D&D. There's like stone dwarves that like were like one of the first people made, and then like that branched off into like gnomes, halflings.
Counterpitch, molten dwarf.
Molten dwarf.
Because, like, we always get a stereotype of, like, dwarves. Like, we get, like,
Imagine them one turn into a
There's
ball and
molten
some
giants.
So like, why not?
molten
Yeah.
dwarves?
Yeah,
right?
that
Like,
makes
my
sense. Well, I mean,
follow-up-
they've been elemental in the
Yeah.
past, so I mean, it
Right.
wouldn't be
molten giants and
outlandish.
the molten dwarves team up, so the molten giants can pick up the doors and fucking chuck them like balls
One
of
of
fire.
the
Trebuchet.
ideas I was thinking of is I remember when we did deck collectors, there was McCollum Half Pint, and he was eating like fire chips basically, and he was like crunching on them and shit. I kind of wanted to toy with the idea of like, and I kind of did this with Giuseppe with his like potion belly.
Yeah.
What if like it's a molten stomach? Like genuinely, like they fucking are able to produce fire in their bellies, and they'd be able to like fucking dude, like upchuck
Fire
that
belly?
shit.
Upchuck.
Yes, the chiefest name is Firebelly.
Fire or like magma?
And
Why not
something
both?
we've definitely
When they
talked
burp is
about
fire, when they
before
barf is
in the
stags.
past, the fact that the fire realm also has its own kind of creatures that are living there that are very representative of creatures that are also in the the Midgard kind of realm.
But they're
Lava
molten.
cow.
But they're molten.
Yeah.
Lava
So
cow.
a prime example that we've been talking about lately, the molten rhinos
Yeah.
that live.
Molten
Yes.
gorilla.
One of the things I've wanted to pitch you in your transformation is like you're running, right, and you're sprinting, and you feel like your legs are like digging into the earth, and you're picking up some as you're running, and then you go on all fours, and you like it's like a transformer basically. Like that was my favorite idea.
Dive
when
into
you did that.
Animorph.
Oh my god, you're about to cannonball.
Yes. One thing that we definitely talked about for Grimstone is that the way Grimstone, because Grimstone is a druid, the way Grimstone wild shapes and also creates the weapons that he particularly uses is that he shoves his fist into the earth and transforms using the earth itself. Lets it mold with his body.
He's very adaptable. Now I really do want a fire belly. Like genuinely, I love that name. I'm gonna think of that.
Firebelly.
Next up, and I don't have it too much. We always talk about demons. It was always demons. Demons. We're all about demons. Devils.
Yeah.
We have tieflings.
Straight up.
Plenty of tieflings. I kind of want to throw some devils in there.
For sure.
I love the idea
Suplex the
of
devil.
Magic the Gathering devils because they're often associated to, and it's the coolest thing, they're like Cirque du Soleil. In that universe, they're like carnival hellions, they're like fucking jugglers who are like the most sadistic little bastards you've ever seen. Yeah, they're the coolest thing. I really want to like double down on that. I want there to be like the chittering, like fiendish trickster devils, like almost like imps, you know? I want to put those guys in there. I want those to be like the city bastards. That kind of like keep their way around and such.
What is it? Xanthu?
Yeah.
They're a lot of
Snakes.
fun. You know the snakes?
Okay, Molten Vultures.
Yes.
I like that.
I was literally having molten vultures, molten crabs.
Oh my-
Wait, there should be
lions.
ashen creatures too.
Yeah, like ones that come out like like oh my god. can you
Vulture would
imagine?
make a good sense to be
I
ashen.
think it should be
Ashen
magma
vulture.
pigeon. Get the fuck out of here.
Shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say like creatures kind of a lot of the time associated with like death in a sense.
Yeah.
Like scavengers and things like that.
You know what'd be sick is if like when you see like that bridge
Ashen
between Valnir and the Darkwoods is like you see like what's basically a phoenix about to fly through the Darkwoods, and right when it hits the border it just like extinguishes it into ash as it like vultures up, you know, so that'd be something cool.
I think
You know, Phoenix.
Phoenix, yeah, Phoenixes, Drake / dragons.
Yeah.
I just said to Omar, what was it, Ashen Fox?
Ashen Fox.
Oh, that'd be cool as fuck. Especially when you follow like this Ashen Fox, and once you get into like the Darkwood, it just when it gets to the Valnir, it just
Lights up.
yeah, that'd be cool. Okay, bugs.
Yeah.
A lot of cool
Beetle.
bugs.
Centipedes, for
Centipede.
sure.
Oh, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Giant ones.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Molten
big
crabs.
Yeah.
I know worms are
Giant
really
rolling
big.
ponies.
That'd be
crabs.
Giant rhino beetles.
Spiders, of course.
Oh yeah.
You know, that would be really cool.
Oh my god, with flaming webs?
Yeah.
You just want me to kill you guys with that.
I've never visited your hometown, but
I'm never going to.
Yeah, we're not going there.
Hey, dude,
Um,
I can just
Technically, I can.
Sean's whole quest line is gone the moment no one wants to go to the land with
Don't
flaming
worry,
spiders.
Sean, don't worry. I'll go with you, and I'm gonna tame a flaming rhino beetle.
Yeah.
Mosquitoes.
No,
They just bite you.
no,
they don't suck
No.
blood. They
They
inject
still-
Yeah.
no,
They inject
no,
lava.
no.
They have like
Something
a chance, like they have to
I
roll a
hate
certain
this.
level,
I
and then
hate
they just like ignite you.
It's funny because while you guys are coming up with this and you're saying no, at the same time, these are creatures I could turn into.
Remember skin renders? What
Yeah.
if I put them on fire? So they not
They're
only
just
can
like-
fly, they embed themselves in you, and then they expand and you explode. Oh, that's too
Oh
good
my.
not to.
my
That's
God.
too good not to. Okay, so it's not gonna be called skin render. It's gonna be called something more like a molten render.
I
Like
They're gonna be bears,
I
right?
think there should be a curse.
oh, action
where
bears.
Every
Oh,
time
that
you
would
get
be
touched by like some molten boy, you just die.
Oh no!
Yeah.
There's like a field of stone.
God, I'm
creatures.
so
Those
ready
people-
for the villain that's just Mr. Electric, who's just gonna throw Grimstone into like
Is there-
water with eels.
Is there like a field of fire of some kind?
Yeah, there's like.
Because I feel
oh,
like it would be
so
cool if like ashen creatures, like when they walk through it, it kind of parts in a sense.
Like a savannah.
Yeah.
Like a lion in a
Oh,
savannah.
it's like
Like it kind of like like it kind of
Tarmac.
avoids them in a
I
sense. Like,
was saying a lot of, or at least I was thinking, a lot of savannah-like creatures living in the fire realm, like fire lions, which I think is like
dude, fire
epic.
giraffe.
dude, griffins.
Griffin.
You motherfuckers are not ready the moment a fucking molten hippo grabs.
It just bursts out of the
Crocs.
lava.
Yeah.
Croc.
Oh my.
Literally, there's like a magma. Like,
Picture I said you earlier.
I want the Ashen Darkwood to kind of be like a bio bog now, like with not fire but
So-
acid like pools.
Giant
Yeah.
lava squid.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there like a water you? Like,
That's
like a
that's
lake,
where
like a sea or
That's the
something?
lava.
That's where That's where Xanthu
Oh,
sleeps.
So we
yeah.
talked.
You guys
We
see,
talked
you
briefly.
guys see
Lava, gold.
Yeah, lava
You
gold.
went at carnival. Things just give it out.
Lava shark.
Lava shark.
that's brimstone.
Brimstone each other.
Show the camera.
Show the camera.
It's,
It's kind of showing
I'll
up.
send it in chat.
It's almost there. Yeah, it'll be there.
Grimstone's appearance in the campaign in front of everyone is just a flaming crocodile.
He just
Oh
appears
my
as
God.
that first,
You
and
just
then
see like the dark woods. You just see like fucking like as you're walking through, you're like, oh, what was that? And you see like the bog, like the
All you hear is
like the popping, and then the eyes like popping up, just
I just have a badass idea.
throw you the ghost.
Yes, carnivorous plants.
No. No. No.
Lava plants. That would be badass.
I'm thinking of like
That absorb
I don't know if I wanna put them in the
instead of
dark.
water.
Yeah.
They suck the
And
water.
Nature
their
finds a way.
their pollen is ash that spreads throughout
Oh,
the land,
yeah.
and it's
God,
transported
that's so
by fire bees.
Exactly.
fire bees.
fire wasps.
No.
Wait, fire bees
definitely not
actually makes
going.
more sense than mosquitoes.
Yeah,
because-
fire bees.
Yeah.
My follow up is
I
also
want
you just said
giant
like carnivorous
fire
fire
rhino
plants,
beetle.
and then my brain went, oh, but what about the jungle? Like I know Krogan would be really cool to have something like that. I'm like, wait a minute, hybrid reptilian carnivorous plants. Damn it, we're on to something. God, that moment you're just like, oh, finally I'm on a short rest. I gotta go smell a phone.
Yeah.
That's a sick flower. It just starts whipping you off.
Hey, fuck you.
Which I also want to say, like a whole ocean, but it's just lava.
Yeah, that's where that's on the outskirts.
Like lava.
Ashen sharks.
Another.
Ashen sharks.
Well, not ashen sharks, molten sharks.
Yeah, they all do.
Yeah, there's not
Because
a body
the
of water.
ashen
but
are
yeah.
void.
Giant lava squids.
Like manta rays.
Giant lava
Yeah.
squids.
Yeah, that would be cool.
On the coastline, so I was thinking since the Darkwood is on like that northern like area, the northern area, I think it'd be really interesting if maybe the water like kind of off the coast is like this like blackened, not obsidian, but like slag, you know, like this slab of ash. What's up?
I just had an idea. What if there's like I'm trying to think of what to call it, like
I like how we keep
geysers.
I like how we keep adding ideas to the fire area.
But it's badass.
It is badass.
You guys really?
Because like like geysers like that shoot up water.
It's just
Why wouldn't there?
Every time you come up with something, Vince, I have to raise the like DC of the area where Sean is by like a level. You guys aren't gonna get there until like level 16 when you guys have already beaten like the BB&G. Sorry, Sean, you get no closure.
Also, you know how we talked about, and I'm not
Dude,
going to go into his whole backstory. At least I want to keep some of that.
Yeah, that's fine.
You remember
Absolutely.
how we talked about a group basically being the ones that tell him to go on his quest?
What kind of quest? Yeah, it's tribe.
I was thinking that the order that sends him on this is an order that is spread out through the entire Fire Realm.
Yes.
The Order of the Primordial Core,
Ooh.
aka representing the core of the planet itself.
I'd like that. I like that a lot actually because for so long I was like, okay, well, making Xanthu like the sun would be kind of interesting, but like I like the idea of a core more so because I can fuck
So-
with that. I mean, what?
So this planet is just like it's just like the core of the world, right?
Yeah.
So is Dwayne Johnson just running around down there?
Yeah.
He's the only human.
Yeah.
No, down there he
Journey-
goes by the rock because he's a Goliath.
He learned to like make himself like covered in ash, so the fire
I'm a
avoids him.
feature, I said sure, feature. Was there anything else you wanted to add to the plane to Grimstone?
Yes.
I'm not trying to rush you, obviously. Religion-wise, it's probably Xanthu, unless you want to add something new into the mix.
I mean, I was gonna say with with Xanthu, you also like with the Order of the Core and stuff like that. There could be a religion based off that. That's
some believe that
more-
there's just like, okay, here's my counter pitch to you. I want to make it a baby. I dead ass because okay, so something that's really interesting is we have a lot of gods that are these old eternal motherfuckers that are like been here forever, still look 40, but they're wise as fuck.
Yeah.
I want there to be like 160-year-old baby just sleeping,
Yeah.
like molten core, and the moment you wake the baby,
the whole.
well, like fiery temper tantrum. I want a molten baby. That's
Which
what I want.
I was gonna say with that, as time like progresses on, obviously someone will have to take the the new role of the core of the planet and stuff like that. Just something there, think.
I want to think of a name. Premise
there a
is already
molten
being
mama?
used as it's a molten lava baby.
Is there Molten Mama?
Probably no, probably not Xanthu. Probably if anyone birthed this creature,
It was the world.
it genuinely is probably like Mother Nature. Genuinely, it was probably one of the Shandala like incarnations.
Just baby.
I'm trying to think. They probably were expecting. Oh, you know what'd be interesting? I just thought of this.
The summer's baby.
It's the child of Shandala, of one of the incarnations, and Nevinrol. Because the idea that both of them had was she's like, well, we can just cleanse out all the dead, like, shrubs, dead fucking plants, dead forests and stuff, and we can start like a new purge of things, and this can, when the child grows up, they can be the eternal god of nature. We won't have to keep cycling through. And Nevinrol's like, well, first of all, I like fucking around with like the world. I like there being constant gods being changed out. And the other thing is, I want mass genocide on a grand scale because that's funny to me. Because like more deaths equals more rebirths, So baby breaks out and stuff. But then they're like, I think it's Shandala's form that ultimately goes, hey, I gotta like not let this kid come out ever. So she puts him like into the core.
This was a mistake. Gotta hide the baby.
Literally.
God, dude. She just dumps her.
Yo.
She dumps her, drops her baby. I
And then
promise.
it just stops growing up.
And then with Grimstone's journey, his quest, and everything like that, Israel, you and me will go into that more
Yeah.
on a personal level.
Oh, my dumpster baby.
Yeah.
I'm just
I wish I could use Primus, but Primus is the name to OG Vantor. Vantor no longer goes by Vantor. He went by Primus Vantoris.
yeah.
I was like, fuck.
I do have
That name
one
sucks.
thing.
Mm.
I do have a name for our special little friend.
I was gonna call him probably Valnir, but what's up?
Down here.
Yeah, because that's the plane.
Oh no, I'm not talking about the baby.
Oh,
Oh, baby.
I'm talking about you know who I'm talking about.
Does he?
Which I'm doing a lot of play
Yeah.
on words with all
No,
these
I know what you
characters.
mean.
Sue, Nami.
I kind of hate it to be honest. I love
Johnny
Sue,
Tsunami.
Nami.
I love Sapphire a lot, but Tsunami is where you lost me. I like Sue. I just don't like
Wait.
Nami. I like Sue. TSU. I like that.
I mean, we could just keep it as Sue.
I like that.
Short for tsunami.
Yeah.
I'm not voicing a character named Tsunami.
No, that's not a name. Her name's Sue.
It's just
It's just short for
Oh.
Exactly.
I think also it'd be interesting if Valnir because I've done this with a few names where it means a couple different things in different languages, or there's different interpretations. I think it'd be interesting if in Celestial, like Valnir meant like, or not blazing, but like kindred hope, and then in demonic it meant like burning vengeance or something like that, you know. So like, just kind of like indicating like, hey, this baby's about to make some changes. So kindled hope, or that. There we go. Okay, so that's it for Baby Miss. Was there anything else you wanted to add for Grimstone before you pop in?
No, I think that's pretty much all I got right now. Besides like just little pieces of like the cast certain spells, how they'll be different from normal.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You'll pick up on it.
I highly emphasize you guys flavoring stuff how you want. Like I can only describe how cool you guys look, but also I really encourage you guys to describe how cool you guys look.
I also talked about later. Well, I haven't talked to you about this, but literally just turning like a firebolt into literally him just jumping and flying with his fist into someone.
Fucking doom fist ass.
Those are fist.
Yeah, literally just throw your fist.
Hey, the eye beams.
Oh my! I like the eye beams
He
a lot.
casts Scorching Ray just by.
Alright.
You're just like you get hit.
Who's next?
Okay.
You wanna
My
go?
brain is hyper focused on trying to figure out a name.
It's literally that meme from that freaking DC movie where it's like Green Lantern's gonna knock this guy's lights out. He punches Darkseid punches him, and two aliens.
Oh yeah.
God no.
It's just that song.
I was just thinking from the boys from Homeland.
Oh yeah.
It's like.
I think there should be a lava island. It's just a bunch of Hawaiians surfing.
Surfing on the lava.
I do like the
Lava
idea of
surfing.
smaller islands on the coast.
Yeah.
Lava
really
surfing.
like that.
I like that a lot.
Brimstone knows how to surf.
Brimstone knows how to surf.
I like that a lot.
Walks up to
Actually.
the side of the volcano, goes, and just. That's how he travels.
You just go shocker bomb, dude.
All right, Lochte.
Lochte. So, where is Damatar? Because that's probably going to be where.
Correct me.
Well, I know he's in Crexton yet, but do we have like a town, or do we have like a
So we
where
have,
he wants to be?
We have a couple of cities, and I've kind of been jumping around with the following.
Okay.
For one, we could put him in the capital, which I'd be fine with.
Which when I was talking to you about, like he's also kind of trying to spread in that sense. Maybe that makes the most sense in the sense of he kind of is trying to also be not only like on the god side, but the like mortal side as well.
My biggest thing with Damatar is I'm really interested to see if I can have him be like trying his best to be in so many places at once, but without like that godlyhood. He's like really kind of struggling with that. So that's why he really needs the emphasis on like paladins and clerics and such.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I for a while I was like, why don't I just put him in the slums? You know, why don't I put him in like the shitty area? If I put Homeboy into like the equivalent of Detroit.
No.
By Damatar.
No,
By Damatar.
yeah, literally won't work.
He's probably gonna stay in.
I'd say the capital, or maybe close to the capital. Because I mean, because the capital's kind of having problems.
Quite.
Right?
Well, there's a lot going on in the capital in terms of political and just overall conflict. So here's what we know politically in the world now.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest thing. There's a house war between the Jackson family, which is like this very, very powerful, innate family of like arcane prowess individuals, and the Moon faction. And the problem is, Crexia really doesn't know, hey, do we just let them bugger off and do their own thing? Because they're like, if we let them do their own thing and they win, how do we know Picard is not just going to retaliate? And then we just have to go to war. Or because that's also their faction. And also, if we just let our most powerful, wealthy, like noble family go to war and die, well, this surely is bad for the economy. But no. Well, yes, but no. In addition to that, that's one of the major problems. On top of that, this is actually a Crexing we get to see, which actually is separated of religion. So they're not the Crexing we see in the past world. This is in one where they actually do have a very deep separation between church and state. And which is why there's so much more diversity in it, as we've seen before, as opposed to what we've seen before. So what I'm thinking here, and another problem, sorry, before I get into that, another big problem is they're also really stressed out about Krogan just saying, well, we're tired of being in one place. Time to just make an entire Krogan regime, you know, because they have the skills to do it. Because the biggest like deciding factor in this timeline is the fact that dragons are alive again,
right,
and plentiful.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were busy,
yeah,
and they're actually working alongside their race. And it's like, oh god, we have like they basically invented the plane, a sentient plane that can dive bomb any element array you need, like genuinely.
yeah.
So that's a lot on the plate of Praxia. And also something that I kind of mentioned, you motherfucker, something I briefly mentioned.
Just go.
Loot in my fridge.
It's also well shaky.
Something that I was also wanting to mention was what was it about Crexia? Oh, this is not Alder Jackson's Crexia.
Right.
Because he was of course assassinated.
Yeah.
Successfully. He's dead.
Yeah.
Alder is dead, and this is what leads into the thing.
And it's Adam and
Helsing
Helsing,
and
right?
Helsing that are not running the country, but they're running
feuding, right?
Yeah,
in a way, because
they're butting heads a bit because
Adam thinks there's the plot,
Yeah,
and Helsing doesn't agree.
Helsing not only doesn't agree with this, but also Helsing. This is Helsing without being Helsing. Is the best way I can word it. So basically, in specifics,
No character growth. I'm kidding.
Literally, no, well, kind of.
In a sense,
his character growth got forced on him at a young age because Alder dies, and he never got the experience of I'm gonna go to foreign lands and meet foreign women and party around.
Yeah.
He never had that.
He just stepped up.
He had to step up right when his dad died, and he went, "Okay, well, I guess this is who I am now." And Adam's just being a dickhead the whole time. So Helsing's like, "Well, great. This is my role model. This is who I have to like build myself off of." You know. So there's all that conflict. And the rest of the siblings are also not doing that great, as well.
I would say with Damatar,
Yeah.
I would say there's one so far like official temple of his in the capital,
It's like a bank.
but he doesn't live there.
No.
I would say he lives like in an offshoot city, like a pretty well established
He wants
city,
to
but
blend
like
in,
yeah, he wants to be more like not like just hiding in the capital in a sense. He frequents the temple, but I would say he lives. I don't know what is really like near the capital per se, but just somewhere. I'm thinking probably like where's the capital like relatively to the country?
Like Midland.
Midland?
Yeah.
Okay. I would say maybe like northwest, maybe a little bit. I don't know if there's any established cities over there, but like
because that southwest is where the Untitled is, which is the religious study of the moon, like like so that and whatnot. So I mean, it wouldn't be so far off for a very scholarly. Because we talk about Damatar, he's pretty smart. He's
he's
smart
really
cookie.
smart. Yeah.
I mean, fucking motherfucker passed calculus. So yeah, I mean, he's book smart. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was kind of in close proximity of the Untitled. So
yeah, that would make sense. Yeah.
Cool. Lives near Untitled. Okay.
And I would say his house is also in a way, bless you, like a temple in a sense. Like it's kind of like he has an open door policy. Like sometimes he'll be busy when you come, but like you're allowed to kind of just come and go to his house because he doesn't really. He's an open person. He doesn't really.
I think for a while there, because I mean, if we track things out right based on the timeline, Damatar's been a god at least 20 years.
Right.
Probably no more than 30. With that being said, Xavier at this point is now like 45. He's not old, but he's a warforged, so I mean, take some time.
Yeah.
So, I think you're basically doing what he was doing when he was your age, because you're about 25, 26.
25, yeah.
And at that time, he found you, and he's like, "Come on, kid, join my cult." No,
yeah,
he was
basically.
like, "Hey, you like money?"
Yeah. Like you not being broke.
Yeah.
Come on, broke boy.
At this point, I think you're broke boy.
Here's some gold.
Jingles the bag in front of you.
Basically.
I think at this point, Xavier's probably tending to the bank. I think he's not necessarily the High Paladin, but he was made by Damatar. He is a High Paladin.
I would say, in a sense, there's probably like a, as funny as this is, like a, not really a council, but a chair. Yeah. Or a board.
Oh my god.
If you see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it is essentially a bank.
Yeah.
And what I said to you, I'm willing to share this. What I told Israel is, Obviously, Damatar is a demigod. He wants to ascend to godhood. But on top of that, he has political aspects. He wants to essentially be like... In America, we have like the Federal Reserve.
Right.
He wants to be that to Crexnia. In a sense.
Oh,
He wants to be like the high bank of
Yeah.
Crexnia.
He wants to be the bank.
Which he said in his mind it's kind of any order, because he's like, well, if I become God, it's not going to be that hard to be like at the high bank.
And
But if I become the high bank,
I can be a god even easier.
I could really easily spread my word and become God of wealth. So
just a heads up, your volume is like at almost max. You don't want don't want them to.
Oh,
it's all good.
Gotcha.
But also, what I was gonna follow up on that was what was the thing I was gonna follow up on with that? What I was gonna follow with that is not all gods or not all demigods or sub beings are really accepted in the pantheon with open arms. They're not all like, come on, let's just give you fucking god power that can put you on par with this random stranger. Damatar's actually an exception.
Yeah.
The gods actually really like Damatar. Zixelbrecht, notably, God of Life, is like very supportive because for a while Zixelbrecht, for some reason, no one really knows why, never liked the idea of power. Never really liked the idea of authority. Never really liked this idea, which makes a little bit of sense because I mean they're second in line. They're right behind Pretendo, so obviously they feel kind of like, why would I like power and whatnot when there's still someone above me? But Damatar kind of did a full reversal. He's like, I'm using my power to help the greater good, and by the greater good I mean everyone. Like no matter who you are. And so it went from, oh, wealth just means you're full of greed, or it means you're very much like one filled with avarice, to much more, I'm a giving individual. I have a lot of compassion. I have a lot more to share with you, which is why these paladins are associated with light and associated with like these good philosophies. That's not to say that the ideas of wealth aren't like, of course, manipulated throughout the world and envisioned in different ways and kind of like stoking the flames of certain aspects of other life. But when it comes to the gods' view of Damatar, they're all like, I mean, we'll find room. Like, this is, I mean, shit, man, you're giving food to people you don't know. Of course you have a seat at the table, right?
Yeah.
Like,
because Damatar is like, on top of, you know, being a very giving person, he's also like one of the most wise people that's around. And so that kind of goes back to like the way you're saying he's very intelligent. I think that the gods kind of have a general respect for him because the way he carries himself and operates, like what he does, in the sense of like his paladins aren't really there to like spread like a code in a sense. It's more so to spread his wealth in a sense, to help people in need and things like that.
I've also talked very briefly about the power hierarchy when it comes down to the separation of orders, you know, government, like freelance, etc. And I kind of want to elaborate that since I have the chance to now. Not all paladin orders are necessarily going to be devoted to, I have to keep the world safe from monsters and all shit. Like, don't get me wrong, a lot of orders are well equipped because it's a dangerous world and you don't want to get fucking stabbed. You know, like, simple as that. You don't want to get stabbed, eaten, boiled, or, you know, brewed in a coffee. But not all orders are going to be the same like that. Luckily for Damatar, he was smart enough to be like, oh, I'm giving you guys like several thousand like platinum. Yeah, I want you to be able to defend it, you know, like not more than your lives, because I think one of the quotes I gave about Damatar, it's similar to one I gave with Gemplate, which is there's nothing more valuable to me than a child's smile. Damatar's is there's nothing more valuable to me than you, you know, like, which is not only ties into like the, oh, he's becoming a god, but also like, they don't want people to die for him.
No,
never
he's
liked
kind
that.
of like a. The way I see Damatar is kind of like an uncle figure to me.
Literally.
And I think you even said that at one point, that like to most people he has that kind of like uncle energy of like, he's not your dad, but like he's in a sense like kind of like a,
he's a 20,
like just next to like a father figure.
Exactly.
Like, he's very caring for everyone.
He flips the stereotype of also dragons. Originally the idea for Damatar was just going to be straight up dragon, but then I'm like, you know, we don't need dragon-born gods. Let's put him in there. He's very humble for like any sort of like reptilian or draconic individual. He's very humble. He knows he's smart, but he doesn't have to prove that to anyone. I mean, he proved it through his own direct actions. He doesn't have to say, "Look how smart I am, and look how great I am. Look how much money I have." He's like, "I don't have time for that. I'm too busy doing my own thing." Checks and balances, boys.
And I think he's trying to break stereotypes too, because dragonborns in general are often greedy. Yeah, and so he's, you know,
on top of breaking stereotypes. There was a like several decade war that was fought of reptiles just murdering innocent like halflings, gnomes, and dwarves. Of course, he's not going to want to be like associated with that. He's
Exactly.
like that.
No, we don't do that.
Literally, we don't do that.
We're on the other way.
I talked about them briefly. Vince, you actually inspired the idea of the Council of Phaoni, which is the hive mind council that's basically like responsible for judgment, justice, fortune, misfortune, law, and order. They're like the cosmic council. You fuck up cosmically, like you kill a god, you find something you're not supposed to, you mess with the timeline. No, but you go to them, and they oftentimes like dictate also like the fates of other gods. Like if other gods step out of their lane and just out of nowhere kind of fuck around. Cool trivial fact about the Council of Phaoni. One of them is a familiar god of the prior campaign. Inu is one of the many minds of this god, so he's here in the hive mind.
Well, because he was not only the god of like light, but he was wisdom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Phaoni has decided, they're like, you know what? There's a lot of Nevinral's been getting a little too busy lately. We need some gods to even that out. And Damatar, we might need a guy like you. He's like, to spread wealth and good tidings? No, to do our taxes.
Yeah, basically.
Your taxes.
But yeah, I'm very... I think Damatar is a welcome addition, not only to the Crexia, but to the world in general. Because, like, we have too many gods that just fall into stereotypes of, like, I'm evil, I'm good, this and that. And with Damatar, it's, like, much more of a, like, I'm a cool uncle guy.
Exactly, like he's not.
Call me Uncle D.
He doesn't, because that's the thing with paladins of Damatar. They don't really they're generally good because you're spreading wealth and everything like that. But you don't necessarily have to be like lawful good in a sense, because that's not. He's like, I'm not here to dictate like how you live your life.
Literally.
As long as you can share.
That was the other foothole I didn't want anyone to fall into. I didn't want to have paladin orders that immediately said, you're lawful good. Like, those are so boring and they're stereotypes that I really want to break out of.
Don't be an asshole.
That's why I wanted to fall into like paladin orders of or cleric orders even of Zixelbrecht when it comes to like, why would an anger paladin, like one that encompasses rage, be lawful good?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why would a paladin of sorrow be lawful good? Like, I mean, they could be.
They could be, but it just doesn't make sense that they would all be.
Why would I play them like that? Why would I say, like, oh yeah, I just murdered a man for the greater good?
I murdered a man respectfully.
Respectfully, yeah, exactly.
But another thing about Damatar is that since he's not like a general, like a lot of gods, when you're a paladin of that god, the way you fall out of oath is usually your alignment changes.
You're broke.
You become, like neutral good or whatever instead of lawful good, things like that. But with Damatar, the main thing is actually greed. Greed is the main thing. If you're a greedy person, if you refuse to help someone that you can help and things like that, those are things that could cause you to either get like a warning or even just straight up be stripped of your paladin. Yeah,
and obviously, like, Locte's like heard of these horrible stories of paladins that have like just pocketed the money and just like, and in turn, there's like this indirect cause and effect of Damatar doesn't necessarily punish them immediately, but then they go out of their way, and like it's that spiraling effect of they start pocketing the money. It's not good enough. They start fucking basically like, hey, like, you're giving commission, right? They start beating the shit out of people, like spreading ill will, and that's when Damatar's like, I don't know about that one, chief. Like that's gonna be a no from me. Smite.
Yeah, basically.
But yeah,
he makes them broke.
Yeah, Locte.
Many ways.
Jumping back into Locte, because we talk a lot about the god. I mean, Locte seems pretty open-closed when it comes to a lot of these ideals. I mean, especially since he did come from the poverty. He was taken up by Xavier, who was pretty young at the point, same age as you roughly. They're very comical. There might be like elements of that comes with Locte, and like imprinting onto Gemplay. My favorite thing is, of course, Gemplay, since he's a Warforged, he doesn't like have to follow the rules of anatomy. So like when he first meets like a kid, or like even Locte in a sense, he starts off like as most gentlemen tip a hat. He spins his head right off as a Warforged and catches it, and like kind of like holds it out a little bit. what I also kind of liked in the lore for this character I began developing
Some
was
kids must
occasionally some people think he's like a carnival attraction and they throw coins into him and he kind of looks in it kind of like acting confused and he kind of shakes his head like no need and just out bellows all the money he's supposed to be donating and just pouring out like a fountain as he gives it to the people, you know, like this very heroic, noble, wealthy automaton.
Gold fountain.
Literally, he's the man.
Check
That
this
reminds me,
shit out.
currency. Last campaign we just kind of used gold for everything. Universal currency made it easy. I hate myself. I'm gonna mix it up. We'll use all currency: bronze, silver, platinum, gold.
Yeah, because we were talking about how there's going to be certain ones that are. It's not really going to be like the same tier because we were saying that there's going to be certain metals that are more rare than others.
There are some times where you bring like a gold coin to someone, they'll be like, "What the fuck am I going to do with this?"
Yeah,
you know,
because like they have a ton of gold where you are. Like
Exactly.
it's going to be regional based on what they have in that area. Some places they don't have platinum at all. So
Lock days broke.
There's no copper.
Or sometimes they're just like, I don't want coins. I want like, give me your shirt. You give me your shirt.
Give me your hat.
We talked about his warhammer.
Yeah.
I like his monocle a lot. I think that's great. I like how all the paladins are very, although they're not stereotypical lawful good, they're stereotypical when it comes to their drip. It's like way too over the top. They're like all like purple, gold, gems. Their shields are all like the perfect caliber. And we talked about this. It's like, although all paladins are very like spiffy, like very formal looking, some of them have seen some fights, and their armor might not tell you that. So a lot of the times when there are other paladins or other like guards or something, they start shit talking and they're like, "Hey, look at you! You got your new armor. You're worried of getting scuffed." They're like, "I went to war, like you know, like, and I look good in it, you know." So
exactly.
never judge a book by its cover with this cast.
Yeah. Damatar, I think, in a sense, that might be one of his like kind of iffy things. Is that I think he maybe is he's like trying really hard to ascend to godhood in the sense of sometimes he's trying too hard
He's
to
stressed
impress,
out from it too.
and so like he'll see like your scuffed armor. He's like, we gotta replace that. Oh, like we gotta get rid of all this. Yeah, burn that.
He knows bending. He's just like, but yeah, he's
in a sense of like he needs everything to be like perfect because he's like, you are representing.
I love
like,
the idea of maybe one of the first times that
He's a
Loctite met Damatar. Maybe it didn't go super well. Maybe he was like a little dirty and he's just like. Like Damatar kind of shoos him out because he's just like really stressed out, and like there's like a soft, there's like a soft moment where Xavier kind of like kneels down, takes out like a cloth, and is like wiping his face. You know, he's like, "Don't take it too seriously."
Man, is this
he's
straight up?
stressed. He's got a lot on his plate.
He's got a lot on his gem plate. But yeah.
But I say with Loctite, he definitely encompasses the same ideals because of where he came from. You know, orphan, pretty much alone until he met Xavier, broke as shit, like broke as possibly could be. So I think to him, like to be able to give back to people that were in the position he was is like his quest in a sense.
Yeah.
Part of it.
So I know some of us do have like a main quest or objective, and I'm not going as far as saying like, oh, if you don't have one, you're wrong. No, on the contrary, we can help develop those stories as we go. So even if it's your just passages, hey, I want to help Damatar and be a force of good. I mean, there's still, I can make so much evil shit
I mean,
with
yeah,
that.
Loctite is kind of he's on 2 as is like of his own.
Yeah.
That will unfold.
Something I will address with the campaign is I went from, with the first half of the original campaign, not really knowing what I want to do with it, and then in the second half going, well, I have all these villains, and I know exactly how I want them to tie into the world, and I want them to tie into heroes and all this stuff. This world feels much more organic, because it's not always going to be simply like an environment built for you. It's an environment that's been built around you. So, I mean, although there's a story happening for your lives, and I mean, there's not really a main campaign storyline, I'm really just in it to follow what's going on with you guys and what's going on with your lives and what's going on with your stories, even if it isn't something specific as like, oh yes, I have to save the princess from the castle and fight a dragon. You know, it doesn't have to be like that. It can be simply like, I just want to get around. I want to see the town. I want to see what the world's like. Yeah, I'm still going to throw shit at you. Have fun. Vince, is there anything else you want to add about Damatar / Loctite? He's very not.
He's
No,
balding.
He's got quite the contour. But I would say with Lockday, Lockday is a very he's an extrovert. He's very open and welcoming and everything like that. But I'd say there's a sort of you can kind of tell he's
Off.
kind of off.
He's trying too hard, also maybe.
Stressed out,
Yeah.
in a sense of he's sharing that stress.
I kind of picked that up also because he looks much older than he actually is.
Yeah.
I was looking at him, I'm like, should we make this character too old? But you saying that really makes me think no.
Yeah, no, he's just under a lot of. Roll it.
What'd you get? If you get a nat 1, you die.
2.
Close enough.
Nah,
You lose the legs.
Oh. So you hate high elves. That's your.
Don't give his trait racism.
Hand this over to Israel, but don't look at it.
Is it a love letter? Why'd
It's just wild shape ideas.
you draw us making out? I mean, I'm not complaining, but no, he said only me. I'm not complaining. Okay, let me look through this really quick.
You got my proportions wrong.
I'm gonna print so much shit tonight. Dude. You can't even turn into that yet.
That's for later.
I don't need to yet.
What the fuck do you mean with a question mark?
What the fuck? What? Okay.
No,
At least that one.
No, it's basically
You'll ruin the
same-
surprises.
Like the same creature, at least maybe.
I mean, I'm not saying no,
I want to see you.
but a question mark?
I want to see you a flaming gorilla. That's what I
I
see.
mean, actually, you know
I
what?
just want to
I
see
already
that.
have a gorilla,
I gotta
so
put
Yeah.
that on the bottom right.
I already
there.
put it down there.
Yeah.
Easy, flaming gorilla.
That's 20 right there.
Yeah. Okay. I'll start printing some of those. But yeah, Vince, anything more about Damatar or Lockday?
I think that I would say that they have a blacksmith. I haven't come up with I have a somewhat general idea of him, but the Paladin Order has their own blacksmith that Damatar kind of keeps on the payroll.
Okay. In this case, since he's not putting steel, it's gold and metal. I'm gonna call
Yeah.
goldsmith. Genuinely.
Yeah, exactly. And I would say that his hammer was handcrafted for Lockday.
That's cool.
That's what and it's gonna have some kind of
Each thing has something.
the name is gonna have I think every piece that they have armor, everything, I'm gonna come up with a specific name for it.
I kind of want it to be one of two things. I want the blacksmith to either be a goblin,
This single
like
bolt.
a yoked goblin,
Yeah.
Absolutely, but goblin with the drip.
Yeah.
Or I want him to be a Yanti or a reptile
Honestly?
with gilded scales.
I was thinking a hobgoblin.
Really?
Yeah, because I feel like a goblin, it's kind of
lanky
it would be funny, but it's also kind of unconventional. I feel like a hobgoblin is kind of funny because
Dude, have you played
he gets to work
Clash
with
of
gold
Clans?
all day, but he also kind of has the size and everything.
I like the idea of a hobgoblin, and I also I think I could tie in that scaled effect. Hobgoblins are a bit more scalier.
They
We can have
are, yeah.
golded face paint or something on them that kind of goes around the face.
Yeah.
Have you played Clash of Clans? Goblins love coffee.
That's what I mean, yeah.
goldish.
That'd be
Play
cool.
coffee.
Maybe the hammer that he gives you was originally the hammer he used for smithing.
Oh.
And
that would be
maybe
cool.
Maybe he's trying to build you to be the next Smith.
The smith arc.
Also, one bit of Lockday that I wanted to add.
Yeah.
I think he was born in Oreskos.
Really?
I think so. I think that his parents came here for something. Wink, wink, nod, nod.
Money.
Not necessarily, no.
Opportunity.
No. I mean, Oreskos is kind of like a safe haven of Leonin. So I think they had something very important that they had to do here,
Okay.
and when they came to do it, something went wrong.
So the translation from Oreskos, because that's D&D. Nice catch. Was Oreskos the D&D environment for Leonin? We could have them be native to Moldaria.
That works.
Just to tie it, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're native to Moldaria, you come here, you're broke.
Yeah.
Whoops. Initially I think we talked about yourself. Not really. Your parents weren't really around. Is that still the case with this, or did they...
No? I think that it was just a sense of. I think Lockday doesn't really know what happened to his parents.
Ooh.
I think that they had to go to Crexnia
Yeah.
for something that they wouldn't really tell him. They just said it was important. and when they went, he couldn't. They were somewhere, he couldn't find them. Whether they died, whether they left him, he doesn't know.
And then he got scooped up by a shiny man.
Yeah.
He said, "Hey kid, join my cult. Join my space cult."
Money
Yeah.
cult.
Money
Oh, that makes the story of it's even sadder. No. Okay.
I'm thinking for the name of the hammer. This is general idea, but I'm thinking like the gilded. Think of like a second word for it, like a
Gilded Smiter.
The gilded brutalizer of equality.
Well, fucking the wealthy opportunity.
That's a good one. I like that too.
It's like, Lockday, what are you doing? Call it a wealthy opportunity.
The gentleman's bludgeoner.
Oh, I like that one.
Problems from tax rebate.
I have a boomerang, call it tax return.
You just have different weapons on you.
Yeah, with like different
Like different names.
So
If you're not using tax return, someone is. I hope.
I totally will.
You
I'll
want a
use it for
boomerang?
anything. Yeah, boomerang. I'll use it.
Fucking. Oh my god! Please. You cast Divine Smite with a boomerang.
It has to be like gold encrusted.
Oh yeah.
I say it's like
But like diamonds.
it's like a
It's not even a
boomerang.
boomerang, it's just a golden ring. It's like a sonic ring. It's just stuff one of them bad.
No. It's a boomerang, but I would say it has like a swirl, like a crust of gold all around it. I think that would be
It's like
cool.
pixie dust flies off it.
Yeah, I would say like it was like
Finds out something start coughing.
like a I don't know what kind of wood, but like a white wood.
I would
be
love the idea if maybe one of the first things you saw of combat as like a kiddo was like gem plate, and like these bastards don't like the idea. And they're like, what the fuck is this, dude? This like because racism, and so they basically like, yeah, dude,
No, literally,
are racist. Like, dude, motherfuckers are racist in this world.
especially against Warforged.
Warforged,
Bro.
Reptile. Because
But there's that. But
in
that's all
canon, Warforged were also associated with the rise of Krogan power. They began making metal men with apparent. It's rumored to be said that if you decapitated a metal man, inside would be a corpse. There was literally like a dead soldier inside of it. So, yeah. So
fucking guy takes off his head.
he
He bows down. There's a corpse in the
I'm
kid.
just saying, a ring of either teleportation or swiftness that's literally called tax evasion.
oh my god.
That's so.
What I was gonna say was like the first like instance of like Locktail like showing money, or showing like not aggression but like just showing combat is like he's fucking subjected to so much shit, but he doesn't care about that. It's like the moment he sees someone getting robbed, and like he like goes in like he's just like, do we have a problem here? And like the guy just stabs him, and he looks down, he sees like the knife like kind of stabbing into his like plate. He's like, this is Bakaran silk you just stabbed into. And like Lockday's like kind of concerned. He's like, oh no, don't worry, I'm just getting my money back. Just like knocks the shit out of him.
I want
one of his hands is like bedazzled the
Yeah,
hell.
no, oh my god, each one has like a word on each knuckle.
You create
Like Michael
it
Jackson's
yourself
like
and call it
diamond.
tax
Literally.
evasion.
One hand bedazzled the shit out of it's kind of normal.
That's good. That's good. I like that.
I like that.
Okay, so it's like the saying of profit and loss, but only one of them's like gilded, so it says profit, and this hand says nothing. Profit.
I had an idea. I want to run by it before I forget about it.
Okay, man.
So I think Lockday would have a form of like taunt,
Yeah.
but it would be called like a gentleman's wager.
Oh.
So in a sense of like he'd be like what? You're not man enough to take me on, or something like that. And yeah, exactly, things like that. And so like kind of like challenge their.
I
like,
challenge you to a duel.
Yeah, in
a
a sense, yeah,
gentleman's
exactly,
duel.
like that. But like at the top to like force them to fight me. In a
Oh
sense.
my god, you're like, I'm throwing in the glove. You just throw a gauntlet.
Yeah.
Excuse me, it's not cheap. You put it back on.
Like,
I mean,
actually,
in the higher class, there's a similar feature that
Panache.
they got.
Yeah. It's called panache.
That's what it's called?
Mhm.
It's not, it's called something else.
Hey, flash my nuts.
Well, it's on the
Fake it.
face.
oh yeah.
Panache is the one that makes it so that way they can either, or you
Oh
either
no,
lose
it's
them.
straight up. It's straight up. You initiate a duel with them, and they only attack you. But if they try to attack someone else, you get an advantage next turn.
Oh, okay. Panache is the one where you just control their mind, basically.
Yeah, no,
That's
it's
one.
like, hold on.
That might be under Dueler.
He creates a decoy. It's called
There's a
tax
pirate
fraud.
class.
Oh my god.
What I was gonna say
Yeah, I know.
Israel, is like I think a cool thing might be like minor illusionary magic in a sense.
Mhm.
I don't know if necessarily like making a like whole projection of himself, but maybe like making like a pouch of gold, like a fake pouch of gold that they can like.
Yeah, no,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
no, I
in the
totally
sense of,
understand that.
Like if he was getting like robbed or something.
Oh, and he has
like a decoy.
Oh my god, I can only think of that South Park like thing where it's like, no, that's where's the real gold? What are you talking about? Everyone knows you carry 2 pouches of gold around your neck, one that's like a decoy and the other one that's real.
Yeah, basically like that. And so like he maybe has like a bag of rocks, but he can like use an illusion that they think it's gold or something.
I like that.
Yeah.
What was the other thing I was gonna say in regard to like Lockdown Palm and stuff? And oh no, it's the fucking I hate this so much. It's the Family Guy one where it's like she's a stripper that's like a teacher. She's like, it seems I have to assign you extra homework, and that's Loctay. And then it comes to fucking Grimstone and Dieter. Oh man, fractions are so hard. What do you get for number 7? She said, no, don't bring it.
Also,
what the fuck is mathematics?
Your paper's on fire.
this is just like a funny lore tidbit that I think would be funny. I think that, like, as a joke, either Damatar or
Gemplate.
Yeah, Gemplate, like lead Loctay on to think that like one day he'll be able to fly for no reason.
It wouldn't be. Oh my god, I don't know which one. Okay, no, I think the blacksmith would probably say that.
Okay, the blacksmith. Yeah. I think it would be really funny. They're like, so when are you gonna be able to fly?
Oh,
he's like,
what?
Yeah, no,
I'll be able to fly.
Everyone else in the religion is like on it, so just tell that guy.
Gemplate is like trying his best not to break the joke because I think the way it was initiated was like he's working on the forge. He's like, so Xavier, tell me, you want me to add those wing modules to you? I mean, the rest of them can fly. And seems you're still grounded. And then he kind of is like, oh no, don't worry about it. But like you hear this and you're like, wait, we can fly? And he's like, that's all right, son. Keep training. The more wealth you get, you turn the golden wings that will take you into the sky. Be careful. Gold melts at high altitudes.
And then Gemplate's, well, actually, and then he's like, no, just leave. Or Damatar's like, let it be for now.
Puts a hand on his shoulder. Damatar, where are your wings? Every Dragonborn ever.
He's like, don't go there.
Hey,
Son,
tail, dude?
don't. Damatar's tail though.
He like goes in his room. He just
You sign the door. Wake up in the morning.
Xavier like, what are you doing in there? Nothing. Trying to fly as like a leonin.
He's like duct taping like fake wings onto him.
He's duct taping spare change.
let me text you.
Okay.
But I would say for now, I think that's, I mean, like the main bulk of it for the time being.
Well,
we just have to come up with a name for the blacksmith.
yep, I'm sure we can come up with something. I'll pitch you like a bunch
Blacksmith.
of
No, I'm kidding.
names. People just call him Smith, yeah.
I just want to throw this out there. For Wild Shape, don't print out a little dragon or anything. I got it.
Okay.
Gone.
I got you. I'm fine with that. My follow-up is, Sean, I'll start going through that list of like the actual DC challenge ratings, and I'll kind of plan out like, okay, here's the ones you can turn into now, and then here's the ones that you can turn into later on at higher levels. And
If you have any ideas too, like just tell me.
horse with the mane,
Lava
Yeah.
horse.
magma horse.
I literally thought
Basically,
of the flame, the flame lion.
I like the flame
Surprised me.
lion. Pigeon. No, I was dying for the pigeon.
The pigeon.
Through your roof.
Not again, goddamn.
There's like 6 holes.
I thought we got rid of that.
Yes, I told you.
They're all,
It's just only one pigeon.
yeah, it's all
One coyote.
brimstone. Takes that guy in particular. I swear to God, I'm not ready for that
Where'd
fucking
that
moment. I
pigeon
introduce an NPC that's not evil enough for you to kill, but like not good enough for you guys to like, and Grimstone just starts pigeon shitting through his roof.
It's molten. Also, I'm just gonna say, because Omar brought it up, Grimstone knows how to surf, but only lava. If he goes into the normal plane and tries surfing, he uses his stone surf and it just fucking sinks.
I hated you.
And dies instantly because
He goes into the water.
I will say, you might have to do some con saving throws based on like water.
I mean, I was gonna say, like, if anything, at least not to make it completely ridiculous, when he's in water, obviously, like, the bubbles and stuff coming out, maybe he can't die when he falls in the water, unless it's, like,
An ocean, and he's being pushed and anchored, and yeah, no, I get you.
I'd say more a spell.
Oh, I get you.
He can go in the water, but like it still hurts.
Wait, I just described to you if Grimstone was tied to an anchor and pushed underwater, and you said, "Well, I mean, just regular water." Name a normal person that could live through that, let alone a man made of fire.
Warforged.
He said he's
Oh,
a man.
Yeah.
Xavier's built different. Yeah.
I just had an idea for the Hobgoblins.
Could be.
My
It's
goblin.
ENKOR, pronounced anchor,
Oh, I like that. Inco.
and like anchor the lavish or something like that.
Inco Lavish.
Yeah, or yeah, even anchor lavish.
Oh, and some people call him Lavash.
Lavash, yeah.
Lavash.
I feel like
It's English, it's not Latin.
Xavier calls him that, and he doesn't like it.
Lavash.
But that's like the only way, because he's a warforged, so you can only say it one way.
I kind of want him to be like. I kind of want Xavier to be somewhat like of a Spaniard, to be honest, like a conquistador
I
type.
think that would be
I want to
cool,
give him
yeah.
that
That's how
accent.
he's got a conquistador fucking helmet.
Yep, literally,
Yeah.
literally Xavier, and he has like a feather poking
Made of
off like the back
platinum.
that's like made of purple and gold.
Made of platinum.
Client.
I think that would be
He's-
badass.
But you with Lavish.
We talk about
I
like
got
his
that,
armor is his body, so also like embedded into his skin are like gems and stones and
Yeah.
jewels and all this cool stuff.
Ink is the drip.
He is-
Pearls and stuff like that.
Pearls. My name is Pearl. All right. Is there anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think we got it.
Cool.
Okay.
Really quick before we get to the next one, can someone pass me a cold beverage? I'm getting.
What you want?
thirsty.
What you want?
I don't want Mountain Dew. So if we have anything aside from Mountain Dew, I'm leaving.
I don't know.
Uh,
Do we have Mountain Dew? We have Dr. Pepper.
Do I have Code Red in there still?
Yes.
Give me that.
Yes.
I need to talk about Code Red again.
Oh, you're a
This is mine
druid,
now.
right?
Yes.
You're a wizard? Okay. What's your race, by the way?
Oh.
If you can tell me that.
Yeah, I can tell. So, I'm still. We talked high elf, or like half elf.
Okay.
Half elf with like high elf.
Is it still like in the
backstory.
work? Should I just put elf, maybe?
Just put
High
half
elf?
Just put half elf.
Half.
Half elf.
Yeah. Some of the things I
Half
will.
elf for human, but I think I'm sick on half
Yeah,
elf.
right now,
I can always change.
the only thing that's really like based on you guys in terms of like world development is race stuff in terms of like age. So based on maturity or based on like how a character is depicted and such, because I want there to be kind of like a pretty solid ground for certain story stuff, because I know certain things will tie into age and like blood. So like if there's something that happens and it's like, oh yes, this like 600-year-old woman, she looks 35. You know, like I kind of want things to flow a bit more consistently.
Quick question, and I just wanted to ask this: could we start putting stuff down on our sheet right now?
Not stats,
Not stats, okay.
but like descriptions and like
And
stuff like that.
abilities and stuff. Like, let's just say
We'll
the
wait on
natural
that.
abilities.
We'll wait on that.
Okay.
Look how excited you are. No, you take your lip.
Background?
No.
Okay. Racist.
All right.
Frogs allergic to eggs.
Our final two. Oh my god, someone should put an allergy. I shit. Oh, final two.
Okay, I put an
What were
allergy.
we talking about in the car? Everyone, like, what
Yep.
happens when they sneeze and stuff?
Oh my god, I love that.
Clearly, Grimstone sneezes and the whole room lights on
natural
fire.
20s, bro.
Ash, Kai,
Ah.
who's going? Okay, now they're
I'm
you.
really bad at
Players.
I'm really bad at wording stuff.
Well, Kai, but you got like 2 things down. Might as well just go.
Yeah. Okay.
Go for it.
So I have an idea on how we got to Moldaria.
Okay.
Because we already had the idea that he was, since he doesn't have his elemental affinity like other Dragonborns, he was just straight up abandoned.
Yeah. Oh
See,
no.
his parents went on a family trip to Moldaria before the war ever started, and then it is like, all right, perfect time to ditch the fuck, the bastard that can't do anything.
Literally. Oh my god, that's
Yeah.
so good.
That's how.
Oh,
That's the way to do it.
I'm fine with that. That works really well. My follow-up really quick about Moldaria is, never thought we'd say this name again. We're back to Malderath fucking name, because Nature's Wrath is a thing again, because the world is fucked. So yeah, Moldaria is right now Malderath, during the time period.
Makes
So,
sense. Yeah. Parents originally families originally from Crexnia, where all the scaly type people seem to be majority at.
Krogan.
Yeah,
Krogan is where they were.
What did I say?
You said Crexnia. I was gonna say, if you're from Crexnia, would you just end up being a Silver Tongue or a family that got murdered by Silver Tongues?
Nah, I like the kid. The parents are like, I don't want this kid. He's not like everyone else. Fuck this guy.
Yeet.
You mean what happened to Wall?
Huh?
What happened to Wall Knight? His parents like
Yo.
I didn't know about this, but yeah.
His
Yeah,
original-
His parents went on a family. His family went on a family trip. His parents decided that's the perfect time to ditch his ass
Joe Dirt.
Bubble one.
over Molderath.
I put abandoned in Maldaria for being smooth.
Honestly, bro.
Literally, they fucking were like, you sanded.
You look
bastard.
different.
Why are you smooth?
Are you smooth and you don't have any elements?
I love to think that like when he like tries to like blast something out of his mouth, it's just like a.
It's just air. Not even like
No
air.
smoke, yeah, no,
It's just
oh
He's a
no, he's
cow.
asthmatic.
you can't run too far. His speed is halved.
Don't do that to yourself. Man.
Yeah.
Don't do that to yourself.
No. Yeah. And then eventually, while struggling in Molderath, eventually a nomadic tribe that uses the runes finds him, picks him up. Eventually, he figures out how to learn by the head of the tribe, like knows all about runes. Is like, here, try these out. And then he discovers the runes can help him use elements and such. So he can now, I guess, like carve small runes in, and then he can use that specific element till then, so on and so forth. Until we mentioned later on, we can just use. He figures out uses tokens and such
Exactly.
to swap out instead of just keep
Cutting
carving
into, yourself,
into his
literally.
flesh, or just keep etching into his weapons.
Literally. So now he switches your tokens and glyphs. My follow-up is touching back on location. We talked about how there's a lot of ties to Viking culture, Norse culture specifically, and how that's going to kind of tie into things. Maldaria is the most fleshed out area of land, obviously, from what we've explored and whatnot. Did we want to use a pre-existing location, or did we want to make something new within Maldaria?
I mean, since they're a nomadic tribe, we can use them. They usually set on outskirts of major areas and move around.
Yeah.
So I guess we can start him. We can pick a city.
Yeah.
Let's
Maybe
the
Ovanta?
main city. Because like his parents are from Krogan, high ranking, whatever. They were there for official business.
So
or
they
some
went to the
shit.
capital.
So they went to the capital and then just left them there.
Okay, and then I mean, obviously, there's a lot of activity in the
There's a lot
capital.
of
They'd be
activity,
there.
they're like-
The tribe would be there regardless to
Yeah.
get supplies or something.
Yeah.
So my follow-up to the tribe itself is, and we talked about this in the stage of life that you're in with them prior to the war. They're nomadic and they still have those elements to them. And then we roughly talked about maybe there was going to be like a settlement or somewhere settled in where there's like a monastery of some sort.
Yeah, we can do that.
Where would you want to put that? Was my follow-up. It doesn't necessarily have to be in Maldaria.
I can use that map.
We can. We have. We can. Look at that map right there.
Yeah, that map.
That's what works.
Let's see. Okay. I think a good part would be somewhere near flowing water, probably somewhere along the river or the big lake, or maybe by the coast.
Okay.
That's a lot of area though.
I think you should go on that island in the lake.
Nah. I mean, nah.
Only bad things came from that island in a lake.
Yep. Yes. This dude.
Try to think of how many people have died in that lake.
Actually, I kind of like that. Use the. What is it? It's not called a plateau. What is it?
Like a mesa?
The mass that is surrounded by 3 sides of water. Next to the lake, up slightly to the left.
Oh, kind
That
of.
little nub sticking
Oh,
out.
yeah,
The
yeah,
peninsula?
Yeah, is that little?
Yeah,
That's a good
peninsula.
word.
I had the word right in the first place then. The peninsula right there. I like. Is that?
That little soft green? Or are you talking about that little area like where it has like that baby bit of green right there? Or are you talking about like to the north? Not the
There's
big one.
Okay, above the lake, there's that green beam
Yeah.
to the left of it.
To the left. Oh, that little like nub that
The
sticks
little
out.
nub that's-
Like,
that's
oh
the nub
no, it's not a
that's-
peninsula. That's a fucking island nipple. That's what you're talking about.
Island
Yeah,
nipple?
on the island nipple.
But yeah, there. I think that'd be good. It's surrounded by
That'd be really
water.
cool.
It's fairly protected, and be a good way for, I guess, the nomadic tribe to like frequently come in and go.
Oh, with their boats and shit too. They're like out the big old.
And they get like
boats.
boat around.
That'd
and
be
shit.
so cool. Okay.
Can use the river to cut through if they need to.
What would you want to call that area? Genuinely. Oh yeah.
My
names.
character doesn't even have a name
Yep,
yet,
no, you're
so
right, you're
we'll
right.
get to the name later. Right now, I like to build my shit first and then name it.
Name it Slorby.
Do not name it
It looks
Shorty.
like a
So
Slorby.
for now, I'm trying to figure out a good name. a good alternate name for adapt or something?
Adapt, survive.
Yeah, something like that, or improvise. I'm trying to figure out names that go around those.
Darwin.
Well, now.
Like from X-Men. Let me think. So you want a name that's similar to like adaptability, like change,
or has that meaning. That's what I've been trying to figure out. Like I've been looking at different languages for what their word for that is.
What word?
Or like adapt or improvise and shit. None of them I like so far.
we could also make up a word.
We can.
And then say like in Draconic it means this.
Have you tried Scandinavian?
Very long. A lot of them are either very short, written the exact same, or unnecessarily long.
No, that's true.
So I'm like, yeah, we could probably figure out a Draconic, make our own Draconic type name for it.
Oh, we should put a hyphen in that bitch.
We can.
Or, not even a hyphen, but like a little quote right there in the corner, you know?
Yeah, because you don't know. Like, if you saw me on the phone at the beginning, like frequently, I was saying like different words to say, to adapt, to overcome, to improvise, and shit like that.
That'd be so cool to put a hyphen. Or not hyphen, but a quote. Oh my god. Okay, so adapt.
I'm trying to figure out names of that. We can discuss that later.
Yeah.
For now, yeah, like Viking-esque. Their community is they use runes for regularly for like even.
Where like some of them have like fur armor. There's like the leather parts with like the runes and
It's
the
like
armor and shit. Yeah, exactly. Daniel had a really good take on runic culture, which I should share because this is of course
I've been waiting to hear what you and Dad were talking about.
Which is very important given the fact that he created runic as a class, and we've been expanding it as the race kind of progressed. His brief note, which we expanded upon after, was runes are tied in with artificers, where rune is genuinely putting magic energy into an object, and then elaborating, runic culture is very emotion-based as a culture and acts as sort of preservation of peace, maintaining order. Not all runics abide by these rules, but most orders follow as such. These most of the times fall into monks, barbarians, wizards, artificers, utilizing this arcane language to better themselves and the world around them.
Okay. Yeah.
With that being said, in addition, I kind of touched up on the idea of, hey, obviously not all runics abide by this rule of like, hey, we're going to better the world by bettering themselves. Sometimes it's, I made myself different. Not necessarily better. I've changed myself, and now the world will change with me. So runics are very powerful when it comes to this because they've channeled their emotions to such a peak perfection. It's now magic. Like it is. There's nothing more I can say about that. Like they literally have gotten to the point where it's like, I'm angry, suffer, stab sword into the ground, fucking cracks the. You know, it's they're. It's this awesome. If I can, it's this awesome mix of Jedi and like benders from Avatar. You know, where like it's some wild shit.
Fucking Jedi.
I was thinking about also in the Drive, they use the runes in like different ways, like simple, like simple stuff like even just boiling water. They just insert magic really quick into like the pot or something has rune etched into it. Yeah, into the pot.
One of the characters I thought would be really cool, not necessarily as like a mentor, but as probably a character you met early on into your life, was a Dragonborn, and the idea was, they are a red scale Dragonborn, and so oftentimes it's just like, oh, they probably are a fire rune master, you know, like because fire and fire. I think it'd be so cool if like one of the earliest like encounters with them was like, oh my, you know, it's really cold out, you know, and he doesn't even use a rune, he just uses his natural fire magic, and then it's just like, well, aren't you a runic fire master? It's like, no, don't worry, you'll learn that soon enough. Giant, you know, insert animal here, bear, boar, like beast, etc., comes and starts to attack, and he pulls out like his fucking great sword, and it's like crackling like electricity, you know. So he's like, yeah, right.
Electricity, like I hope he says electricity. Crackling, like
and he's got like a fire going off and stuff, and he's like embodying it himself, you know. So like I like subverting expectations when it comes to runics because it's like maybe. I mean, obviously, we just stereotyped him into like, yeah, he's the fire master, you know, he's a fire dragon. But like, it's so much more interesting. Like, if he embodies emotion, why is he electricity? You know, it's the energy. You know, it's the joy. It's that that sharing of like enjoyment and kindness and such that he embodies.
Yeah. Also, for the name trying to go around adapt, I want to use that because, like I said, I don't want him to use specific runes. I want him to like swap through somewhat regularly for like different situations. Like you mentioned, my guy can use a rune and go to the fire plane.
Exactly.
No problem.
No problem at all.
Similar, same situation. If it's cold as fuck.
Fire rune.
Nice Or that. Or yeah, honestly, or that. Or fire. Just keep the fire rune on, or just swap to an ice rune.
I'm finding a guy. Fire rune. I'm cold. Fire rune. I'm hungry. Fire rune. I'm about to get crushed to death. Fire. Guy only.
I say I went to a draft and if I stick with, I just don't
just
take
adapt
off.
to
Your
fire.
character name should just be Pyre.
Fire.
The fire dragon.
He's based, remember we talked how he just kind of translucent at first because he has no elemental type shit.
Ew, I just realized when he was a baby, he probably was like kind of translucent kind of.
It's kind of like you can see his like insides kind of. It's like
you put like a flashlight through him. He's like,
you put a flashlight in his back. He's just. You put it on the back of his head. His brains go.
you put it on the back of his head. His head's gonna go.
It's just.
It's not a spot.
I don't mean like press onto it.
So some of the like kind of runics that I've been toying with was obviously with the Dragonborn. We talked about the woman who's kind of like designed after the ancient one, where she's got like fucking tattoos all over her body.
Tattoos everywhere.
Yeah. I think like that's something cool that's being adapted with runic, which I will say is they're not playable yet. I'm gonna obviously talk to Dallin.
Won't be there yet.
Yeah.
But when we get there.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking. I haven't talked to Daniel about it yet, but I wanted to bring this to his attention. For the longest time, I wanted to kind of bridge the gap between runic and Inkbender when it came to or Ink-blooded when it came to the spell tree with conjuration and whatnot when it came to tattoos, because they're very much like linked. I was thinking about it. I'm like, a monk runic would be so fucking awesome, like to see like how instead of using ki as like energy for like key points, you spend key points on runes. So you can like spend a key point, activate your fire rune, spend a key point, activate your radiant rune, you know, like things like that. I was also thinking of how to like transfer that into like sorcerer, where it's like you use runes as your arcane focus and such like that. Those are probably gonna be NPCs, but if I come up with anything crazy, I'll obviously pitch that to Daniel and let y'all know. Maybe a Loxodon runic, that'd be fun. Our Cochrane runic. A lot of runics, a lot of cool runics to have. We talked about your weapon.
Yeah, halberd.
Halberd, and how it has like the disc slot essentially.
Eventually.
So, you're abandoned, you're found, you grow up, you're training, war hits. You're more so thrown into it. We talked about this because your monastery is not immediately like gung-ho. They're not like, we're going to join the battle. Some do. Some kind of branch out and are like, hey, genocide of races is bad. We should go stop that.
This shit is not lit.
But then they're like, here's the problem with this. I would like to think at the time runic isn't necessarily as well known as it is now. There is a very big time jump that I will admit about this campaign. There's a very big time jump.
Yeah.
So
my guy's gonna be in there for a bit.
So maybe during that time before the war, runic wasn't nearly as well known, and they were kind of like, hey, if we go in there and one of us gets like captured and like kind of begins getting tortured for information and stuff, there's a good chance that all we're doing is giving runic magic to a place that's known for having very powerful sanguine magic, having very powerful like just magical beings, dragons, very powerful magical beings, and most reptiles and lizard folks like Xanthu, very powerful magic beings, etc. Yeah.
Nothing. Sorry, something cracked into my brain. I was just thinking. I'm sorry.
Okay. So maybe that's like a hesitation for joining the war front. And you said initially that you were flung into it because, like, they essentially struck first when it came to your tribe, right? When it came to like the war.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure I'm hallucinating that. If I am,
I think you mentioned that originally. I wanted my character to join the war just so that his tribe can continue just doing their own
right?
thing.
Sort of like a Porgus Comper sort of like take on it. I recall that fighting in their place.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Why would you say that?
And when they withdrew, yeah, that'd work. That worked really well.
My guy's there for them, so they don't have to be a part of it.
By all means. So when they withdrew, that was almost good news to you. When Maldaria withdrew from the war, that was almost good because you got to go home. So what gets you to Crexia is my follow-up. Because if you're stationed in Maldaria and the war ends, you go home.
Vacation.
And there's a lot. What? Vacation.
I'm just relaxed. I'm just like.
There's a very long time jump. I mean, maybe you're studying advanced runes. I mean, culture spreads. In runic there are advanced training styles and various art styles. I mean, it's even specifically said like in runic a lot of people know like the elemental runes, fire, frost, lightning, etc. But then as you get more advanced, the style you pick defines like your styles. So, like thunder, acid, and poison are some of like the examples of like more defined runes and styles. Like maybe you're sharpening your skills once again. Maybe you are expecting a threat. Maybe something along those lines.
Okay.
I could also just make a villain for you because runic villains would be really cool.
Right, we can talk about that later.
Okay.
Fight Ozai or something. Jesus.
Runic villain.
I mean, I don't know. Like I might stay just because he feels like it's the best thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
He's been there for this long already. He might as well stay to see it, how it plays out.
Mm-hmm.
And if he really wants to, he can just like, all right, peace. I'm going back home. I'm tired of this.
I'm going back to Krogan. Okay.
Or-
Or I'm going back to Mother.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, like I'm tired. I'm going home with my people.
Because Crexia has like a lot of interesting stuff going on there. First and foremost, I mean, it has obviously it's heavily tied to the dragon gods of the moon. It has now a draconic demigod. That's a pretty big deal. That's kind of more tied to culture based. In terms of arcane, if there was a magic that really heavily lies with Crexia,
I still feel like it'd be cool for him to a side thing is to also learn since he's there.
do you inherit it as one of the most prominent learning like embassies ever? Like
Might
this
as well.
giant monolith of education. Absolutely.
Cool. Might as well. I stay to see how it goes, but I can still do other shit.
Yeah, so
Still
your
learn
quest
and
is
stuff.
more learning based. You want to learn. You want to
I don't-
hone and sharpen your skills.
Yeah, I'm gonna learn and see how things go,
Okay.
and make sure the side that I really joined for wins.
Sounds good. Was there anything else you want to add?
I still want that specific baker to have a room that just makes cake.
Oh, yeah.
I just want you really want that? It's just a room to make cake.
Okay.
Only that one baker knows how to make it.
Cakes.
Cake room.
Yep, just
It's
a cake
such-
room.
It's such,
It just makes cake.
it's such an advanced form of fire runic magic
Yeah, it's
that
just-
no one else can do.
Yeah, it's just not only that.
I was
baker
just
can-
reminded of something
Free
about
cake.
Lock
Free
Day.
cake.
When we were
Free
like
cake.
first coming up with the character, when we decided on a hammer for his weapon, you gave like an example. You basically said like a civilian's like, Lock Day, if your whole mission is to like spread wealth and like good fortune and everything, what's the hammer for? He's like, bandits.
And then,
And then a like giant purple worm like jumps out of the ground and just like is roaring and shit. He's like, oh my god, what is that? And Lochte just smiles and goes, bandits.
oh yeah, that was my favorite line.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay.
Anything that is just trying to cause harm, bandit.
Bandit.
I don't care who you are. You attack me, you're a bandit. No.
I'm kind of hungry. There's a chicken over there. He stole my green rice. Bandit.
Bandit.
I gotta write down chicken.
I bought these
Okay, write down rice.
Ooh,
What are they?
dice.
What type?
I believe
There you go.
I got a lot of
zinc.
shape in it.
Ooh.
Like aluminum and zinc.
I've been actually thinking about picking up my own set of metal dice.
Ooh.
Okay, so
Oh yeah.
I could also, like, as culture spreads, it could be possible that there are runic Crexians. Like, there are genuinely people of Crexia that have learned and adapted their own styles of runes that you want to learn from as well.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I bet you I can bring that back to Malvera.
Yep.
Or Malverath.
Yep, absolutely.
I gotta get that crammed into my brain.
Oh,
Not
trust me, me
Malverian,
too.
but
Me too.
Malvera.
I don't even think those are plastic.
I think
Or like
when you get to Crexia, that's when there's the cultural divide of there's runic culture, and then there's like rune smiths. So this is much more like blacksmith, industrial, like they're making their stuff like artificer style. While back where you're from, it's like again monk, sorcerer, barbarian-esque, like culture tied. You know what I mean? Okay.
I like that.
Was there anything else you wanted to add?
There was, but I completely forgot, so I'll come back to that later.
Sounds good. All right. Last but not least, babe, what you got for me?
Alright, I don't want to go into detail on where we
Yeah.
currently left off
I
on their
get you.
background.
I get you.
I
So-
want that to be a secret.
Oh my god, I have an allergy.
Okay, let me start. I'll start small. After leaving home, and we talked about your home operation. because you're from. I could say where you're originally from. That's not too important.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're originally from Moldaria as well, right? And then your parents who were merchants came to here, or did we say Prakara?
I think we said. No, I didn't really specify where my parents were originally from.
We just remember. I remember they were merchants and they traveled overseas, and I assumed Moldaria for convenience. I mean, everyone
I'm
but
gonna
Krogans
assume
in
for
the
them it was more like they're merchants and they're just making deals.
Yeah.
Along whatever
They get around.
sea trade route there is.
Mhm.
And then they were just like, oh, we're having a kid. Fuck. Okay.
Settle down here.
Here.
It's fine. They got money. That's all that matters. There's a god here. Okay. Oh yeah, you would be right. You're being born would be on like the mid-life of technically Damatar, so that's fun. Okay. So you're born, you're living, and we talked about that in regard to your backstory and in regard to like training and whatnot. So that's where I kind of began dividing up the power system, like power hierarchy of how things work in most cultures. So it's like we have our government, we have our like guards and such. That's specifically about protecting the people, but don't avidly pursue. And then we have our watches, which avidly pursue and hunt, and they go out of their way to kind of hunt down threats that really can't be guarded against, to say the least. Alright, so that's been stated, and we've been kind of talking about where that direction's been taken and whatnot, and where that's from. So do you get your class stuff in training? Because I know like your methods were unorthodox. So was that part of it, or did it come along when you really figured out who you were? Like that's because I mean it works either way. If you figured it out when you did, it would work out in terms of like why you're lower level, like you're starting off kind of like you're figuring it out, you're learning, you know, these magics and whatnot. But also, I mean, it would still work in that sort of way because with this skill of magic, you'd be figuring out how to channel these emotions and how to channel like literal pain into, you know, well, spreading more of it essentially. So, I don't think it's crucial, but I think it'd be kind of interesting to explore how this progressed with the character.
I would say for their abilities, I would think like that's them learning it now. Like,
no.
This is new. Like,
All this is new.
like
Okay.
the infusion. That's where like that's their start to it.
Okay.
And then basically them prior knowledge like with watch and everything. That's them going through like basic
Physical
trial
training,
of like you know you have to hunt, you have to find
You
it.
need to work survival skills.
Basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so that makes sense. And then the more arcane elements to it came later.
Yeah.
Got it. That works perfectly. Okay. And then obviously we talked about where they're going in terms of like their quest, and not just the quest, but like what their goals are and how the world is physically affecting them, and like why it's affecting them, because you were thrown in a situation. I'm very excited to throw said situation at the party when they find this shit out. Yeah, I mean, anything else you really wanted to share about this? I know there's a lot of stuff we have to keep in lock and key, but
I'm willing to share the one group that we made that was kind of the neutral group.
Absolutely. Is that the watch that we're talking about?
No, that's the spirit ones.
Yes.
I wanted to share that.
By all means.
So we have a group that we've been working on. It's basically that does kind of go with Nevernor's thing, but it's more or less. I don't want to call it his creation.
Mm-hmm. It's a way of life.
So basically, we have natural ways here on Earth, how things recycle. We have natural causes. A tsunami. What is that caused by? Earthquake from something.
Ghost shows.
We have wildfires. We have this. We have that. Why is that caused? That just happens. You can't really explain it. It just does. And so the idea was, why don't we make a creature or several of them that simply exist to do it?
Yes.
They're just there for birth and recycle.
Essentially face spirits. And we talked, I think it was Chandela, who we talked about being the one that kind of...
It was either we were going to pick Neventhral or we were going to pick Chandela. It was like the mix between the two.
Yeah.
Because like, she is nature, but he also does rebirth and cycle.
My follow-up is why not?
Collaboration.
why not both? Yeah, because like genuinely, maybe some spirits usher in like more peaceful progress, like simply like we're burning. I use this example a lot, but like burning down a forest to start new life, and then the other ones are like, yeah, we're gonna do the same thing. Tsunami, earthquake, you know, and as they grow more powerful in those terms, and maybe that's why, as you know, with the many various orders, there are those tasked with hunting these face spirits, you know, hunting these guys down.
Yeah. So, I actually do like that idea of them that's like their creation together. And they're not stuck to region areas. They kind of just move.
Absolutely. There probably are some also in Valmir as well.
Yeah, like I could totally see like the Paladin Order gets tasked, like this creature is just causing havoc. It's not allowing any growth, any wealth in a certain area.
Burning everything,
and
or
it's like, well,
corrupting everything.
We have to get rid of this. It's an evil for the people.
Exactly. And guards are like, we don't know what to do with it, and then Paladins are like, well, we don't know what to do with it, and then the Watch comes in and they're like, no, we've specifically studied how to fucking, you know, Ghostbusters this little bastard. I like the idea for them having different sizes. You know, there are some that are like wisps, some of them that are fucking colossal, like thunderous clouds and
stuff. Like I can totally imagine one like coming out of the sea, coming back down.
Oh yeah, like a torrent elemental or something.
Yeah, and it just creates like a tsunami, wipes the coast.
Oh my god! Like
a whale, looks like a whale coming out.
But it's like an actual like like a spirit.
It's actually spirit, and just when it crashes back in, then it causes.
You see like the sand of like where it originally laid or something coming up with it, and then coming back down.
I like that a lot. So we have an order for them. We have an order that we talked about for you, and then there's a third order. But it's not necessarily like a devote order. It's just one that really splits itself by like, hey, we physically mess with our own DNA so we can be better hunters.
Yeah.
Those can be trickled into both those factions. And my third one that I was gonna pitch are like higher up beast hunters, like straight up like ones that like would just specifically hunt. And that was probably where Vane was before things hit the fan.
Oh yeah.
And now afterward, they're like, there are bigger threats than boars. You know, like there are bigger threats than like, you know, horned beasts. There are
flaming horned beasts.
literally roast beast.
Roast beast.
Yeah. I would totally see that as a way of like Vane's just like, oh, this exists now. Well, we gotta do something.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That there's been almost like a domino effect of things occurring, and this has been just kind of like a downward slope for decades. But now it's to the point where like this is in Vane's like forefront, and now she's just like, oh, yeah, this is a thing that's been going on for a while. This needs to kind of stop, you know. So yeah, I'm excited for that.
I am excited.
Was there anything else you wanted to add before we get into the numbers?
I did want to ask.
What do you want to ask?
How dark do we want to put this? Is it this?
We can make her pretty dark. I'd be fine with making it. I've had a couple ideas that I can obviously send to you when it comes to that. But we can make it dark. We can make it dark. I'll pitch you the idea when we get the chance.
Because I was reading the Ravenloft.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, ooh, that would be great.
Ravenloft is such a good book.
Ravenloft is a really solid source book. I sometimes forget that it's just Ravenloft when I'm looking at some like the subclasses. Like, what is it? Spectral Bard?
Yeah.
Spectral Bard's so cool.
Spectral Bard is
what is that?
It's a bard that uses ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could basically...
Ghost Band?
Yeah.
It's basically like if they were able to just go out and be like, okay, I'm using Magic Hand, but instead of using just Mage Hand, it's just Possession.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh,
that's
cool.
Alec would love that. Alec would absolutely love that.
I love that. That is insane.
I would definitely want to toy with that.
Oh, yeah.
Ghost Band? That sounds so cool.
Yeah, because I know...
Distractions.
I know with this character... I know we haven't dived really into it, because I know previously we tried to make Neventhrall a real big villain, but it just ended up being like he just ascended. He became better.
He doesn't need it to be a villain at this point. He's just doing him. But obviously, I mean, he has. As I touched up on gods, I'm gonna touch up on like demons and such.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. I was like, are we gonna dive into that? Because I know that we have.
There are demons that kind of counter the main gods because Nevinral is a dick. So like as we kind of talked about it, Obviously with Chandala spirits, they're like good, they're prominent, they help with the growing of crops, they help with nature, the cycle. Nevinral's like, let me speed that up for you. And he makes his own kind of offspring in terms of spirits. Same thing applies for gods. Since he is the eldest like demon, well, was the eldest demon, now there's someone new that kind of took his place as he's now been a god. He has his kids. And these kids are pretty commonly known in the plane. Based on the fact that they embody like the counterparts of good. So we start off with Elgadoth. Elgadoth is the demon spawn of pestilence, plague, and famine. She is a tabaxi form. She is a like plague cat, which like she oftentimes looks like her basic design is she has like this very dark cloak around her, and she looks like almost like a like you have coin, you know, like a Khajiit kind of like a Khajiit, and she like has like not only does she have like a hood up, she has like a very beautiful like tabaxi face with like gold, green, purple eyes and like a nice healthy hand. When you pull back like the cloak, it's all like rotted flesh, dried fur. She's like hag-like. She's very hag-like, basically. She's a leopard. A leopard. Nice. There we go. There's a familiar name from the original campaign. There's Urbax. He is of course the Illithid. Yeah, he's now a demon spawn Illithid of Nevinral. He represents deception and manipulation. His whole thing is Urbax is claimed to manipulate a lot of cosmic events due to the fact that he can. There's shapeshifting, and then there's cosmic shapeshifting, which is its own bag of worms. There's Olgan, who is a creature who's basically the Barthau counter. Olgan is responsible for fear and nightmares. She takes any sort of like dream and she's just like, nope, have fun, just being upset and sad. And especially with how much weaker Barthau has gotten over the years, there's a lot less innovation being made in one's dreams. Let me see if there's anyone else I can do. And then from there are even lesser beings which aren't nearly as well known because like again they like kind of hit more of like the demigod sort of like region / localized area. But those are like the big three of his kiddos that are really known. A Krogan for a while after before Krogan went missing. Krogan was convinced. Krogan's like, I want to be a god. I want to be. If Xanthu can be, and if fucking fucking two-headed moon spirit of the moon can be a dragon god, I can be a dragon god. Look how much murder I've caused. I am the dragon god who fucking decimated halflings, gnomes, dwarves. I deserve a seat at this table. And they're like, no, because all you did was murder innocent people with acid breath. And so he is the self-proclaimed cruel god of pain and suffering, and he's always considered himself an adopted child of Nevinral. Nevinral has simply said no comment. He does not even want to give...
It's just...
Literally, he doesn't want to acknowledge him. He thinks it's so much funnier just to not give him the satisfaction and just let him be a little dick about it. He's like, I don't care.
This doesn't say shit. This is
and a character that we kind of talked about in very briefly in Maldaria, there was the half orc who was known as Pognull, Poggknull. He's the Maldarian god of festivals and like festivities and celebrations. But he also has always viewed himself as a child of Nevinral, because he is always like the idea of like, haha, fun chaos, fun magic, without really going like, wait, this man turned another guy inside out just to watch him like squirm, he's never really, he's completely blindsided that. He's just like, haha, everyone likes a pinata full of bees, haha, I'm a dick, haha, so
he's an asshole.
Noel,
just a little
no, he's just really
festivity.
dumb. He's really, Pognull's stupid. He was also in canon. Before this campaign, in the original campaign, he was the first king of Maldaria that got fucking decapitated by Karak. Yeah, he was like literally like, I saved the world from death. I am the best king. And then Maldaria went into plague and famine. And Karak, this three-eyed orc, went, hey, buddy, you're a fucking idiot. I challenge you to Agni Kai. And Pognull was like, I beat God. You really think you could... Just cuts his head off, and he's like, yeah, I can. Now I'm king.
I did it.
And then he inspires a lot of, he inspired a lot of Krogan-esque elements to Maldaria, which turned to Maldarab. And then Zoraf went, oh, that's pretty cool. I should take notes on that. Yeah. Was there anything else anyone wanted to add in terms of their characters? I mean, obviously, we have more than enough time to add to our stuff with characters and whatnot. I'm just saying in terms of lore stuff that just we're dying to blurt out, or any questions, comments, concerns about, you know, the world. Obviously, I've said it before. We're starting in Crexnia, and we're kind of following individually and progressing as such. What's up?
With Damatar,
Yeah.
I was kind of just brainstorming. I think instead of being in like a city that he like lives in, I think he just has like a manor somewhere.
I'd be cool with that.
Like just like kind of like a like it's not like desolate or like hard to get to, but it's just not really like in a city. It's kind of like his own little. Because I mean,
like
if you think about it, like he has like he lives there, but there's also like the forge.
Yeah.
There's kind of like the order, the board and everything like that. So I think it would be like
It's like
kind
a
of
Great Oak Lodge.
exactly. In a sense, yeah.
My follow up to that is, I mean, the Jacksons, they don't live in the sky palace of the Unerics. The Unerics is actually grounded. They were smart enough back then to go, hey, what if our giant flying monastery just, you know, hurtled several hundred feet into the ground and just lost everything? So they kept it in the ground, but in doing so, they took up a lot of land. So not only is there no Underhill flats, there's actually also, I know, there's also no, like, Jackson Manor in that area. So we could just put, like, a little townhouse area for Damatar there by the Uneric, you know. That'd be really cool to do.
He's got the money for
He
it.
owns an apartment complex.
God. He owns a mega mansion.
He's
A
leasing.
big mansion. Alright. Anything else that comes to mind? We're all going to Crexia, figure out how you get in there, and, you know.
Well, I was born there, so.
He's like, well, we gotta go to
I
Crexia.
was
My parents
born
are
on a
dead.
river. But yeah. Alright, with that, yeah.
Where the nomadic tribe goes.
Mm-hmm. I thought we talked about the nipple.
Yeah, that.
Okay,
Would that area just be like mountainous?
yeah.
Like just a big ass mountain. I want it to be similar to Fel. Yeah, we probably have like a couple like hubs for the.
We could spread them out, like
Yeah.
various, like, well, yeah, we could have like one there, one. Yeah, we could do a
one
bunch.
in the mountains, one by the sea.
I'd be totally down with that. Awesome.
Yeah, like
Alright.
evenly spread out, so they don't have to go. All right, I have to go one side of the continent for this part of the tribe, all the way to the other side of the continent.
Literally.
Without stopping.
You could take like breaks. Exactly. I think that'd be great. You have like a couple places. All right, boys. It's where boys become men.
Yep.
We're rolling for
Boy.
stats.
Oh, I thought we were going to. Alright.
No, now we're rolling for stats.
Okay.
We weren't rolling for stats by ourselves like little
Yeah.
babies. We weren't gonna go.
Dude, I rolled all 18 guys. Trust. That's where I got it.
I'm gonna know.
Good thing these are empty. Shit.
We all know the rules as we've been rolling forever. 4d6s, drop the lowest. If you roll a 1, you can reroll one time. If you roll once again, you're stuck. Because, you know, it's fun to have characters with flaws.
So we can reroll any ones.
Yes.
Yeah, if you roll
Well,
one first time.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, so roll 4. If you see any ones, reroll them. If you see ones again,
Actually, Israel, do you just have that case of D4s?
It's right.
it's in the chest. That chest right there.
I got it.
The chest.
Oh, thank you. Mike,
Alright, you guys can all roll at one time. I'm not gonna be a bastard like, hee, let's all roll at the like, same time. You wanna do one at a time?
I feel like that's so much more
I
suspense.
feel like it'd be kind of cool.
And if you kids are at home, feel free to roll.
Rolling a bunch of D4s,
Every
right?
time I've rolled a character for Israel, I rolled an 18 once. Every time.
My follow-up is, before we fill in those stats, we can actually go through like the character sheet and like kind of figure things out as we go, you know. So feel free to roll our stats, but I wouldn't commit too early on as we're still going to be building these bases, you
I
know.
don't know. There's one more character.
There is one.
They're dead.
They're not dead, no. We will be joined by our 6-member Savant, being piloted by Sid. And I would not feel right, you know, expressing their character without them here. So they will be joining us
After they're done being dead.
Did you
after the
roll?
dumping dead. Yes.
IRL, they become
They will.
Alright, so who's going first?
You guys can go all at once, maybe one at a time. I'm fine with either. I just
What
like.
do we want to do?
Okay, Omar, you go
We'll
first.
do
Roll.
one at a time.
Omar, you
Yeah.
first. Oh my god, he's rolling one die at a time.
Something like that.
You bitch.
So
That's not bad. That's what.
3 over here.
9, 10, Whoa.
That was terrifying.
Can I clean up some of the cans while we're doing this?
One of them.
No, no.
This one has that.
Cans.
Whoa.
Drinking that, I'm drinking this. This is cool.
A 4. 5.
14.
Ooh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. We take those.
I'll switch you. Here. Relax.
Oh, we rolled it.
26.
For you those of you at home, the way we do stats is we roll 4 d6s. We drop the lowest stat, but depending on what we roll that first time, if we roll a 1, we can re-roll that. But on the second time, if you get 1s again, you're stuck. Oh, is this the 18?
It was a 4.
What would you
It was
say?
a 4. Yeah, I was
No,
gonna
there
say,
was a
I don't
4.
remember that. Come on, bro.
11, 15. So 15.
Yeah.
Okay, not bad.
That's a pop.
Yeah, 6 plus 4 plus 5, 15. No, your die initially got knocked, I saw it.
Suspense.
I love when you put like Kai and then you put quotes around where his name will be.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Ooh, a 3.
Hey, bro, for me, name the last.
A 2.
Oh my god, ads.
6.
Come on.
Ooh!
Clutch.
Your list has 12. Nice.
Alright, last
He's
one,
gonna be
team.
balanced. He's balanced.
18.
Come on, team. If I don't get an 18,
You gotta stop saying
I'm
that,
gonna
bro.
kill myself.
Just roll them all at once. No, roll them all at once.
Just say fuck it, balls
Every
it
other
all.
time you,
once?
yeah,
All
roll
at
them.
once.
Go for it.
They're all ones.
Oh,
2 ones.
You gotta reroll one of them.
You can roll both of them, and then if you get them ones again,
Okay,
just
maybe
roll.
one time. Maybe one.
Ooh,
I should
10.
have rolled it 1.
3, so
Okay.
13.
13.
So is your highest up 15?
Yeah.
Wait.
But you're balanced. You're balanced.
I'm bound.
Pretty even, yeah.
Alright, who's next?
Okay.
Go, Vinny.
I'm gonna go after Vince, get my shit over with. So first.
5.
Hey. Hey. 20, bro. One at a time.
Ooh, 2. 6. So that is 14. Oh, plus 3, 14?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
14.
So 14 on the first.
I'm not excited to roll for mine. No, sir.
Yeah. I'm in a similar boat for Omar where I always get 18s. Until now.
Until now.
Ooh.
Okay, so
13.
13.
You roll. His name is Dieter 2. He's like Dieter, but
Okay, I'm gonna try one all at once.
Dude, I'm telling you, 1 hour. You trolling. You're gonna
If
if
you
you
get
get
all
18, I'm
sixes-
gonna kill myself.
6.
Oh wait, there's a 1. There's a 1.
Oh,
You roll.
there's a
Get a 6. Get a 6.
Ooh.
12.
Hey,
I
12.
was talking to
I
Israel in the
take
car, and I'm like, for each character, what if they roll a 3? What stat would they dump it for?
Has no one gotten higher than a 15 so far? Jesus.
I only got a
I
4.
mean, it's only the 2 people so far.
Let's go.
Oh.
Roll that 1. Okay. 13.
13.
These are some average boys.
These are very average boys.
I won.
That means things are gonna be difficult though. That's good. That means you guys won't get free feet.
Yeah.
Wait, chill. Come on, get 2.
Come on.
Oh,
Okay, I
10.
saved it a bit.
10.
10 is base level.
That
That's
is-
so funny.
I'll take it.
Better to have it.
Okay, one more.
Oh my god. Vicar break
What's
is
your
really
Oh, that's the lowest one, I swear to God. 6.
Oh.
6 right now.
Ooh.
6. Come on.
Ooh.
10. Kai, you're up. You said you want to go next, I thought.
14.
Yeah, I wouldn't get over with. But
13.
Here's this cat tray.
yeah, sure.
They killed me.
I kid you not.
15 is the highest we get.
If 15's the highest, I'm gonna shit.
Okay.
All
5,
of us have 3 18.
4, 3, 2.
So 12.
We're trolling.
Remember when we had characters that were like, yeah, 20. Yeah.
Okay.
I remember.
10.
Okay.
Okay, we might beat it. 14.
14.
Unless it's a reroll the 1.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. 14.
Reroll again.
That was so close.
5,
6, 11.
11. Reroll both.
Roll
The
both.
6. The 6.
Oh,
16.
10, 16.
We broke the curse.
Yeah.
Not for me.
When your bard fucking gets higher than 15.
I go back.
Oh, 6.
6?
6. Let's go, baby.
4? That's still good.
4. Okay.
Okay, 14.
14.
God, the troll. 2 6s, 2 4s.
Wait, that's 16.
Wait, 16.
That's 16, bro.
12.
Six,
Oh,
six,
six.
Oh, 16. I'm a meme. I'm an idiot. I don't math.
2 16s.
I'll die in
Let's
the
go,
fourth.
baby. 6. 2.
2.
I hate this.
2. 5.
I hate
So
this.
13.
Alright, hear me out. If I roll
Yeah, okay, I did not
4
right.
6s,
I'm
it's
killing.
just a 20. We don't even do 18.
How many do you have?
I have one. I need one more.
Okay.
4.
6. Well, okay, that could be a 6.
2. Okay.
5.
Okay.
Okay, 11 before 15.
15.
Okay, we haven't beaten the 16.
Pop off. That's actually huge.
Especially when
What do
you
you got?
tank.
3
I got nothing
16s?
below.
That's 3 plus 3, no? 16 is the baseline for 3?
Yeah.
What?
Or plus 3? 16?
Yeah.
Damn, that's huge.
You
I'm
gonna go,
actually
Sean?
pissed at myself because I dropped my hand right now and it was 3 6.
Alright, Sean, roll. Or Ash, which one?
I'll go last.
Roll off.
Dude, I got.
Can I use you, Trey? I trust your
Yeah.
Trey.
Yo, bro. Here, you can use this one. This one.
Cat Trey.
This
No,
one did
it's
me
the
well.
dice. Trust the tray.
That did me well.
3.
That bounced off. That
Or
didn't
Sean.
count.
Sean, these
Roll
dice.
better or I'm
Actually-
giving you 1.
Actually, Sean, these dice did me pretty well.
10.
Alright, so
15.
Here.
here, those dice did me well.
Excuse me.
Yeah, let's wait for Sean. Okay, so I have 2 16s.
Oh, that's fast. 7. Jesus Christ, one up max. Hey, now we're cooking with fire. The bars are Sean gets a 17 and 18, I'm gonna shit.
Ooh, hot garbage. That's a negative stat, my dude.
Come on, save me some. What? You got 6. No, you're stuck on a 6. You're stuck on a 6.
Dude, what a high.
Basically for you, those of you at home, Sean not only got one of the highest numbers, he also got one of the lowest numbers because he rolled 3 2s
No,
and
he
a
got
1.
the highest and the
Literally,
lowest.
and then he re-rolled the 1 into another 1, and he's stuck with it. A 6.
Awesome. So I had 2 16s.
6, 12,
Okay.
15.
Yeah, 15.
That evens itself out.
Just put it in the
Hey, he's got a 6, you know.
He has a negative stat, alright?
It's -2, bro.
Yeah, he's a negative stat, bro. You're good. You're good, bro.
That's beautiful. No charisma. No charisma. No dex.
No charisma.
6, 10, 14. Not bad. One more. If you get any lower, I don't think I can fucking handle it.
It's like, alright, re-roll that set.
Two.
You get
He
5.
just rerolls all his ones, all 1.
3.
That didn't count.
It was still 4.
Hey, we'll speak on that.
Hey, fucking
If he gets a 1, then we just replace it.
2. Oh, okay, 6.
6.
Hey,
1.
I'll let you re-roll it, but only off the 1 because again, you gotta aim better, motherfucker. 6. There you go. One more. The 18.
Where'd she go?
Oh. 14.
Hey,
There's
roll it.
16.
16.
16.
Hey, that's still 16.
My brain hurts.
You're beat.
Alright,
That's
Ash.
2 15s, a 17, a 16, a 14, a 6.
Good enough, Ash.
Dude, my stats are pretty high though right now.
6.
You're low.
Ash. Ooh,
Do it.
I'm leaving.
30?
Bruh.
Dude.
Literally the highest stats. 18.
I told you guys.
Shit, Ash.
It's
Oh
both
my
these
God.
dice and the tray.
Oh yeah.
These dice and the tray.
So we got
Sounds?
18.
Midgets suck.
Hey. 30, okay. 2. Oh no.
It's fine. It's
3.
3.
It's okay.
So 6, 7.
7.
Oh wait, no. Yeah. But
Yes.
8. 3 plus 3 plus 2. So 8.
Hey, wait, that
Hey
way.
bro, you have a max
Where was the
stat.
drop line?
Hey bro, she went from a max stat to a very low.
Yeah.
It evens out.
Even lower. Oh my god.
All 1.
6.
Wait.
Oh, reroll.
Okay.
Reroll.
Oh, yikes! This is another.
Not, you can reroll it again. You can reroll it again. Well, no, it's not because
It's like another.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
6. So you're memeing. You're memeing.
Is that another?
That's 2 18s.
Dude, take a picture of that.
Can I have one?
Fucking barbarian. Hey, my stats are pretty good. Fucking. Oh my god.
The twink word.
Okay, but I'm happy with my stats. My stats are better than I was
Especially
expecting.
since that's a draft word, you get like an apple.
so.
Yeah.
We got-
Yeah, but Vainsy.
Racial stuff again, so that negative, those negatives are still gonna stay. So we'll say
Not bad. 10 so far. 15.
For strength?
For strength, yeah. Put the 15 in strength. That's a what? 6? Yeah, plus
Oh,
1
that-
strength.
That is 15, yeah.
From Leon.
6
Yeah.
plus 4 plus 5.
That's 16. Plus 3.
Yeah, that's mental.
Well, it's plus real.
Still 2 more stats to roll
Because
for.
I only have a 14. That's my
Shit.
highest.
I shit.
No.
Like shit too.
My highest is a 14.
Stop it. Okay.
Again?
Okay, so third 12. 6 plus. Or 9 plus 3.
We're getting
Yeah,
the
12.
negative, man. You need it.
Alright, so what I'm hearing is everyone gets free 18 except for Ash.
You know
Roll
what?
better.
You
Hey,
know
Sean.
what?
Hey,
Sean.
maybe if your dice go into trade, you get
Sean, you should have took my offer on this. I told you guys the tray and the dice. Those are what I use.
No, that trade has actually gotten me a lot at once.
Me too.
In sessions.
Well, I never used this tray before till now, so.
3 plus 11. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I
stats
can't use that.
have been
It's
rolled.
cursed for me.
Before we delve too far in, I would like to. I think it'd be smart if we just kind of one-on-one character builded really quick, especially since we can get some of the cool stuff in there. Because I mean, yes, obviously I trust you guys to make characters and stuff, but also I'm a DM and I like giving you guys free stuff. So if I'm sitting there and we're working stuff out, like realistically, why wouldn't I give you free shit?
Not necessarily that he breaks it.
I finally get to use my books. I love paper.
I'm buying books.
Oh
I'm getting it from my bird.
So long term, obviously, like kind of keep in mind what subclass you're gonna want to skew into
Yeah.
when it comes to like how he's gonna be approaching things. And I mean, we'll see where the character goes as well.